if you see your brother getting ready to get in anything, I don't care if he's wrong, you go with him.
That's exactly how I grew up. That's exactly how I grew up.
You defend your brother I don't care if he's wrong.
100%.
I don't want to see y'all fighting and arguing in the street. If he's wrong, you go help him fight.
Totally agree.
And Bobo my brother kept me in so much trouble behind that.
That's how I grew up. If your brother kills 5 people in a drug-related murder spree, obviously we're against that, but get him a fake passport first.
Yeah, get him out. See, that's why I wasn't angry at, I don't like Cuomo, but him being supporting his brother.
I defended him too.
Yeah. I said, no, man, I got to defend his brother.
That's exactly what I said, and that's why.
100%.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't care what. He's your brother.
He's your brother. You stand with your brother. Period. And I didn't like them firing him. No, suspend him. Send him home.
That's how I felt.
But
that's
don't fire
funny.
the man because of that.
And then all these people I knew who I thought were decent people were like, "No, he broke the rules." It's like he broke the rules defending his brother. And I don't like his brother at all.
Right. I don't like his brother. But you know, when it comes to that absolute rule, it's an absolute
couldn't
rule.
agree more.
Yeah, it's an absolute
Then I
rule.
thought, how are these people raised? I was at a bachelor party in Newport, Rhode Island, like 20 years ago. I mean, I worked at CNN, and we were of course drunk. And my brother was much drunker than I was, and we were walking down the street. My brother got in a fist fight with someone on the street, and the guy punched him, knocked him down. And I thought to myself, I could hear my father's voice going, "Anybody touch your brother?"
Oh, God.
So I knew I was about to get my ass kicked, and I had a Polaroid camera. Remember those Polaroid cameras? We were playing some game with Polaroid cameras. I don't even remember. And I took it and I thought, I'm about to get slaughtered, but I couldn't help it. And I went and I hit the guy in the face with a Polaroid camera. It broke on his face.
Get the weapon.
And the guy just kicked the shit out of me. Pushed me right in the face, knocked me backwards onto broken glass. I cut my hands. I had a huge black eye.
Oh, my goodness.
I had to go on TV the next day with a black eye.
Oh, my goodness.
I did not want to fight the guy. I'm sure it was my brother's fault. And I said to my brother, like, why did you obligate me to get a black eye in your defense? I knew I was going to lose.
Believe me, man.
But I could hear my dad being like, don't anybody touch your brother.
Anybody touch your brother.
Okay, Pop.
You stand with it.
Stand with it.
Man, it's, again, that's why your dad reminds me a lot of my dad. He was one of those, he's rote-minded, hard scrabble, right and wrong, do his job. One of these men. And again, we've feminized men. That's one of the things they want to do in this culture.
So when did that start and why did it start?
Civil rights movement, man. All those communists and Marxists got involved with all these counterculture people, the feminists, and they wanted power. And the way you get power is by feminizing men. LGBTQ comes in. We are a threat to them. John Wayne's a threat, man. Jesus Christ is a threat. The guys that stand up and say, no, it's this way, because they wanted to change everything. They hated J. Edgar Hoover, not because J. Edgar Hoover hated black people, please. They hated J. Edgar Hoover because J. Edgar Hoover hated communists. And he kicked all their asses. He took them all down. And when Hoover died, they had to destroy Hoover to make it seem like that the civil rights movement and all the crap they were doing with the Black Panthers and whatnot was successful. These people were horrible people. The Panthers were selling dope on the street. They were infighting and beating women. Huey Newton beat Bobby Seale with a bull whip. It was insanity going on there. They were just a mob. But they would take these people and they would elevate them and say that this is how you need to be because we need you as suicide bombers. The way Hamas has this martyrs wall, right? So that they can have these little children growing up wanting to kill themselves for Hamas. They're training us to be the exact same way. Marching, sweating, while they're setting up in Beverly Hills and in Manhattan, drinking their little, tequilas and whatnot. Black people out there doing all the marching, all the sweating, and getting the hell beat out of them and put in jail. We're their shock troops. We're their Hitler Youth. That's why they need us. And they're going to keep that going.
So, but to feminize, so the idea is to make men feminism because you take them off the table as a threat. Sure.
They're not a threat anymore whatsoever. And you and I are both old enough to remember the whole feminist movement with the bra burning and, oh boy, I don't need a man. We're equal to men. Marriage is like slavery. All of that. And that was a Marxist construct.
So that wasn't about liberation?
Oh, it was, I think that they sold it as that. It was about destroying the family. Absolutely. Because when you destroy the family, when you destroy the whole concept of family, government has to come in and take over. And that's what it did. The black family got destroyed behind that. Now the white family's going down too. And America's in a death spiral. Man, they destroyed us from within. You remember what Abraham Lincoln said, right? He said, nobody can cross the Pacific Ocean and take America by force. We must live as free men or die by suicide. We'll have to destroy ourselves. How do you destroy America? You must take out God, drive it mad, and have us destroy one another. And that's exactly what's happening now. No foreign nation is destroying America. America is committing suicide in real time. Well, you and I, as we get older, sit here and watch it and say, oh my God, what can we do to stop this?
So the civil rights movement, the official civil rights movement, was and is still described as a Christian movement.
Yeah.
Was it?
No, anything but. You know, it's been a lot of great scholarship done recently. Virgil Walker has done a lot of good scholarship. James MacArthur has done some good scholarship. And they have, John MacArthur, they've looked at King's papers from Stanford. Come to find out that King wasn't even a Christian.
He wasn't a Christian?
No, they said he didn't believe in the deity of Christ, didn't believe in the virgin birth, didn't believe in the resurrection, didn't believe in hell. If you don't believe in those things, you can't be a Christian.
No, that's true.
So when you look at his monument inside of D.C., do you notice Reverend is not on it?
No, I didn't know that.
There's nothing about God on that monument. Nothing. This is not a mistake. This is a confession. They knew exactly who they were. And our Bible tells us that a tree is known, how do you know a false prophet? A tree is known by the fruit it bears.
That's right.
You will not get good fruit from a bad tree or bad fruit from a good tree. Each tree and its fruit will be after its own kind. So when you look at the black community and the condition that it's in, if it's bad fruit, the tree had to be bad.
That's right.
And if it's bad fruit, it's a false prophet. It's binary. And when you look at where we were between 1940 and 1960, the black community had cut its poverty rate from 80% to about 35% in 20 years, the greatest reduction of poverty in the history of the world. And then after the civil rights movement, we flatlined. Why? We turned from God to government. And Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement led us on that. And we know how King was all tied up with the communists. Man, Stanley Levinson was the one communist in America. Bayard Rustin had been a communist in his youth. The guy that ran the SELC, his name was Jack Odell, Hunter Pitts Odell. He was a communist. King's lawyer, Clarence Jones, was a communist. Clarence Jones and Stanley Levinson say they wrote the I Have a Dream speech. They were both communists. And when you look at the I Have a Dream speech, it's amazing when you dissect it and deconstruct it. Because when King says 5 times in that speech, the first thing he said was, 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the Negro is still not free. That is a lie. I was born free. My freedom is a gift from God. It's an unalienable right. According to John Locke and his second treatise of government, it is irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. Now, King says 5 times in that speech that we were not free. Then at the end, he has that great refrain that on some certain day we'll be free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty we're free at last. Still telling us we're not free. And we make our children recite that speech every year on his birthday, saying that they're not free, that they come to government for their unalienable right to freedom. You don't ask government for your freedom. You defy government to come and try to take it from you. What did our founding fathers say when King George said, I'm your sovereign? No, you're not. I'm going to show you. And he said, I'm not just going to come in and kill you guys. I'm going to bring you back to Great Britain. I'm going to choke you till you're almost dead. Then I'm going to castrate you. Then I'm going to cut you open, let you see your guts before you die. And then after you're dead, I'm going to cut off your limbs and send them to the uttermost parts of the British Empire. And guess what the founding fathers said? Did the declaration and said, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Put their names on it, sent it to him, and said, bring it. And whooped his ass. Free men. And then they walked around with their chest stuck out. Yeah, we did it. And King is wandering around. King would have asked King George. He said, well, boss, can we be free? No. Well, okay then. We'll just march until you decide to give it to us. The father said, you don't give us our freedom. We earn it. It's ours. Come and try to take it. And this is the mindset that they've placed into America, Black America first, but now America. And look at the results of it. We're at the bottom of every socioeconomic statistic in America. And there's a revolution now happening here in America. They're turning against the Democratic Party. They're turning away from it because they're seeing that it's not working. Joe Biden walking around, the MAGA crowd, gonna put you in the back of the buses. The MAGA crowd gonna put you back in the cotton field. And black folks looking at him like, what? Hey, you didn't see him at Morehouse College?
Yeah, just the other day.
One of the funniest things I ever saw in my life.
What did
These
he
are
say?
young black men, 21, 22 years old, right? He up there talking, they're going to put you in the back of the buses. They're going to make you eat hamburgers in the back of the restaurant. And they're looking at him like, these young boys ain't concerned about no mess like that. They in Morehouse. It's a black college. They've already segregated themselves. They don't want to be around white people. They're in Morehouse. If they want to be around white folks, they don't went to Harvard or Yale or something. You're at Morehouse, a black all-male college. And you're going to talk to those brothers. Nobody is putting them brothers at the back of the bus unless they want to go at the back of the bus.
It's interesting that you just said they segregated themselves.
Yes. They love black culture. It's not that they hate white people. And that's what people try to say, that if you love yourself, you hate somebody else. No, it's not true. I mean, good God, if a Jewish person goes to a Jewish school, don't mean he hates Gentiles. We have to understand that loving yourself is a virtue. Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So the way you treat your neighbor is predicated on how you love yourself. So if I don't love myself and I want to inject drugs in my arm, I'll expect you to want to do the same. And I'll allow you to do that because I love you as I love myself. If I call myself the N-word, and of course I'm going to call you that because I'm loving you like I love myself. But he says first, love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Then love your neighbor as you love yourself. Those are the two commandments. We leave the first one out. See, if you get the first one first, you got the second one first. We just tell people, love your neighbor as yourself. And so many people hate themselves. They also hate their neighbor. And that's where the conflict comes in the black community. Martin Luther King Jr. never talked about loving yourself. He was always talking about trying to make some racist love you. And you can't change how people view you. Our Bible tells us consistently, do not be concerned about man and how he feels about you. He will hate you. He's going to hate you. Don't be concerned about that. You love him. That doesn't give him license to put his hands on you. Christianity is not a religion of non-violence. It's a religion of non-aggression. That means if you don't touch me, I won't touch you. If you don't hurt my family, I won't touch you. But if you come and you try to do harm to me or mine, I'm going to whoop you behind in the name of Jesus. Get you off of me. I have to take care of my family. You know that if you let it be known that anybody can come up in your house and eat your food and rape your wife and your daughters, they're going to do it. There's no virtue in that. None. And that's what King preached. Allow these evil people to come into your home, beat your wife, rape your children, blow up your house. And that's why so many black men turn away from Christianity during that time. They say, I'm not going to do that. If that's Christianity, I'm not going to do it. But they were teaching a false Christianity, a plantation Christianity from the slave master. Jesus Christ went into the temple. When he found those guys money changing, what did he do? Made a whip, ran them out. Nobody's touched him until he said, my time has come. He was not a pinata. He didn't allow it.
Who came up with the idea that you only vote in November in elections? No. You vote every single day with your time and your money. You show your preferences. You put your support behind things you believe in, and you withhold support from things you don't. You can do that with your cell phone, by the way. There's a wireless company that if you're not on board with what's going on in this country at the highest levels, you can make your preference known. It's called Pure Talk. It's probably something you should consider. It is proudly veteran-led. It is led by veterans of the U.S. military, and it supports American jobs by their customer service team. All of them are right here in the United States. What other company can say that, by the way? Not many. It proudly supports great charities that you would support yourself, like America's Warrior Partnership. Every dollar you spend, some of that money goes to those charities every single month. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk, you know what? You will not be sacrificing coverage because Pure Talk puts you on America's most reliable 5G network. And with plans starting at just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, lots of data, you can literally cut your monthly cell phone bill in half while doing something that you can feel good about and believe in. The average family saves almost $1,000 a year. So no contract, no cancellation fee, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. It makes switching easy. Go to puretalk.com/Tucker and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Once again, that is puretalk.com/Tucker to switch your cell phone service to a company you can be proud to do business with. So I think your assessment of King is right. I mean, of course. The one thing about his life, though, that does make me pause is the speech that he gave the night before he was shot in April of '68. And it was a garbage strike, I think.
Yes.
And in Memphis. And he was late because he was in bed with a couple of different women. And Ralph Abernathy finally bugged him until he showed up at the church. No notes. And gives this speech, which is not as well publicized as you think it would be, in which he basically predicts his death. And I've listened to it. And again, I'm not a fan of Martin Luther King, but that's the most unbelievable speech I've ever heard in my life.
It is, but King did that all the time.
But I guess my point is, it's hard to see that and not think like God is speaking through him. How can you predict your own death the night before? That's unbelievable. Don't you?
Well, I mean, I think if you do it almost every day, sooner or later when you die.
Is that true?
Yeah, he always predicted it. He always said that this was going to happen to him. I don't know if he believed it or not. I do know this, that he had such a libertine lifestyle.
Yes.
He was more like Rasputin than he was Jesus Christ. He became an indispensable person in government for a very long time because they put so much behind him. I read this great book. I can't think of the name of it now. They talked about that the civil rights movement was more about the Cold War than it was about anything else. Because the Russians were using the propaganda of how America treated black people to have African nations and Asian nations come to communism.
Yes, that's true.
You're our comrades. You're our brothers.
That's right.
They had W.B. Du Bois come to China.
Yes.
He gave him all kind of awards and everything. Stalin had these guys. Malcolm X would go over there and talk. So they were using it as a propaganda piece, and they said, we have to take care of this. So King was their front man in this effort. They didn't know King was compromised by the communists until right before the March on Washington. And that's when Bobby Kennedy told, first Deke DeLoach told him, get these communists out.
Number 2 guy at the FBI.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it. Then Bobby Kennedy told him, man, you got to get these guys out. He wouldn't do it. And then right before the March on Washington, the big seven, big six, whatever, came to the White House. And Bobby kind of gave John Kennedy a nod, and John Kennedy told King, come out to the Rose Garden. I want to talk to you. He didn't even want it to be bugged in the Oval Office because he was going to share top secret information with him. And he said, I know you're under surveillance. That's lawyer talk for saying you're under surveillance.
Yeah.
You have 3-4 guys in your organization are communists. They got to go. And he called their names, said Bear Rustin, Jack O'Dell, Stanley Levinson. He said, these guys are communists and they have to go. And the King tried to deny it. He said, look, do you think I pulled these guys' names out of a hat? I'm the president of the United States of America and I know their name. And he brought up this guy in Great Britain that they called him some type of sex scandal. I forget his name, but he said, you know about this? He said, yes. He said, well, he lost his government behind that. He said, I could do the same thing. If you go down, I go down. You got to get rid of these guys because I'm affiliated with you. They'd invested a lot in him. So King said he would do it. Well, J. Edgar Hoover, of course, didn't believe it. And he heard about this group of communists that were going to be meeting down in Dorchester, Georgia. And he set up some cameras to see who was going to show up. And lo and behold, Martin Luther King Jr. showed up in this nest of spies after this long conversation with the president. And he bought these these pictures back to Bobby Kennedy and said, I thought he said he's going to get rid of these guys. He's going to cut them loose. And that's when Bobby Kennedy signed to put the wiretaps on him. He said because, and it was more to protect him because they thought he was going to be able to be blackmailed and that he was going to be infiltrated and da-da-da-da-da. And so they watched him. And as you notice, none of this stuff really got out until, and it's funny how it got out. The night of the Joe Frazier-Muhammad Ali fight in 1971, everybody's watching this fight, right? So this group of weirdo communists decided that they were going to burglarize an FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania. They burglarized the FBI office, and guess what they found? The COINTELPRO papers.
Yes.
Bought them out and gave them to the Washington Post, to the New York Times. And that's where all the stuff about King came out. It wasn't J. Edgar Hoover, it wasn't the FBI, it wasn't the conservatives. It was the liberals that put it out there. And when people started reading it, they said, oh my God. Hoover had kept King's stuff secret. All of it. Nobody knew it.
The sex stuff.
Yeah, the sex stuff. And then when it got out, the people, King's people wanted to have it all destroyed. And that's when the judge said, no, we're going to take it and we're going to seal it for 50 years. And nobody can see it. But yeah, these liberal morons were the ones that broke into the FBI office and stole it and gave it to the press. And that's how we knew about King's affairs and his 45 girlfriends and his prostitutes and the orgies, which the thing that bothers me more about all of it, Tucker, is the prostitutes. The orgies are bad. We ain't got to talk about that. But when you buy flesh, and you say you're a man of God, I mean, that's very visceral with me.
Yeah.
That's visceral, you know? Just so much terrible stuff. But the fact that, you know, they say he plagiarized his PhD, which means that he was a fake doctor. And then, you know, they say that he wasn't a Christian. It means he was a fake Christian. And he walks around with these communists. And it had gotten so bad that Deke DeLoach finally told J. Edgar Hoover, he said, you can't talk to him. And that's when J. Edgar Hoover then decided to make him an enemy of the state. And this is when it gets interesting with his assassination. When I read this in Taylor Branch's book, Parting the Waters, American King Years, and Taylor Branch is a Democrat.
Yeah.
He's Bill Clinton's roommate at Yale.
Yep.
So it's not a conservative saying this. It's a Democrat, Bill Clinton friend that's saying this about King. He said that the FBI designated King an enemy of the state. And it's only about 5 or 6 people that have ever been had such designation in the United States of America history. And they said that with this designation, even if they heard that somebody was coming to assassinate him, they wouldn't warn him. And that was a courtesy they would give to mafia dons. They would not give it to King. So they said he's an enemy of the United States of America. This is interesting that he was so affiliated with these people. They found out that money from Moscow was bankrolling the civil rights movement. He was getting money from Moscow to put in his pocket. All of this. That he was deemed the enemy of the United States of America by the federal government. And so I'm reading this. And, you know, I'm reading this stuff about, you know, right now, FBI and the government hated Martin Luther King Jr., hated the civil rights movement, Well, I read this story about this group called the Revolutionary Action Movement, RAM. Maxwell Stanford was running it. Tupac Shakur's people were involved in all of this. And these guys were rough. They had decided that they were going to assassinate Whitney Young for the Urban League and Roy Wilkins for the NAACP. They were going to take out the black leadership because they thought they were Uncle Tom's. And Hoover had infiltrated RAM and knew what they were doing. If J. Edgar Hoover had hated the civil rights movement, he would have allowed RAM to go ahead and do what they were going to do, and then would have arrested them and said, look at this, black people killing black people. Ain't this a shame? Instead, what does he do? He warns the people in the civil rights movement, protects them, then he arrests the guys at RAM and destroys the whole organization. They go into exile, some go to Cuba, they all run off, others he put in jail. Does that sound like a man that hates the civil rights movement? No. Juan Williams did a book on Thurgood Marshall. As you know, Thurgood Marshall was a federal judge.
Yeah, of course.
For a long time. Then he became Supreme Court Justice, Solicitor General. Thurgood Marshall said J. Edgar Hoover never lied to him. He had to sign the warrants as a federal judge. He said Hoover didn't have to lie. He said Hoover always had the goods. Never lied to him. So why this assassination on the character of J. Edgar Hoover? Because he took out communists. He took out Marxists. He took out these malcontents that hate America. You know, the same group in 1968 to try to take over the Democratic Party in Chicago, right?
Right.
And Mayor Daley and the hard hats ran them out. And they were out there screaming, the whole world is watching, the whole world is watching. What did Saul Alinsky tell them? You got three choices. Either find a wailing wall and cry, start making bombs and exploding everything, then they're going to turn to the GOP, or go organize. And in 4 months, 4 years, come back, and you be the delegates. They came back to Miami in 1972. They were so well versed in the rules of the Democratic Party that when Daley showed up with his Illinois-Chicago tangent, they ran him out. And Jesse Jackson and this guy by the name of Singer took their place. They took over the Democratic Party in 1972, and they brought in LGBTQ and abortion and that stuff for the first time. And that's when Richard Nixon slaughtered them, remember? Nixon didn't need Watergate. The Democrats imploded in 1972. And they did it from the Civil Rights Movement. All of those people from the Civil Rights Movement, that was their plan, to come in and take the Democratic Party. They tried it in 68. Daley beat them down. They then used the rules. 72, they got it. They haven't let it go since. And they finally got what they wanted in 2008 with Barack Obama.
Who was Obama in retrospect?
God, I think Obama was a part of a worldwide liberal movement. From Western Europe to here. All of them, all of this cabal of weirdos over there in Europe that were pushing things at that time, from Merkel to the guy over France. Obama was involved in all of it. And all this LGBTQ stuff and all this climate change crap started happening then. And it's all designed for a one world government to try to get, I don't know, the World Health Organization or the UN or somebody to start getting some type of criminal court that can start arresting us for not doing what they want us to do.
So I mean, it's funny, the distance between what you thought something was and then what you later learn out it actually was. Mm-hmm. And on the LGBTQ plus, or whatever we're calling it now, I mean, I was raised in a pretty liberal area where we were told that was about, a certain percent of the population, I think it was 10% they said, was gay by birth. And, leave them alone. Don't bother them. Right. Like, don't be mean to them. Exactly. And that always made sense to me. I don't have zero interest in bothering people in general, particularly over their sex lives. But now I'm starting to think in my age that that actually wasn't kind of what it was about. No. It's they understand what they're doing. You know what communism is. Number one is atheism. Why? Because they do not compete for power. Number one, it's atheism. I agree with
Number one, they don't compete for power. In America, we say there's a higher law than the Constitution. It's God. There's certain rights that we have that you cannot touch, government. That's our whole concept of government. Unalienable rights. We have a Bill of Rights that say, you can't touch these, government. The communists say, no such ideology exists. The government controls all. So God has to be destroyed. We know that much of LGBTQ is in direct conflict with our Bible. Direct conflict. Absolutely. So it's like the Daniel test. They had Daniel, you know the story. Daniel was the king's favorite, and the guys in Babylon started getting jealous of Daniel, and they said, we're going to set him up. So they said, hey, king, why don't you make a decree that says that no one can pray to you for 30 days. The king said, yeah, that makes good sense. But they knew that Daniel prayed 4 or 5 times a day to his God. And they say, if the king makes this decree, if Daniel obeys the decree, his God leaves him. If he disobeys the king will kill him. Either way, Daniel's in the trick bag. So, of course, the king makes the decree. They're spying on Daniel, sees him praying to his God. You know the rest of the story. They put him into the lion's den. God saves him. King kills those guys. It's the same thing in America now. We're going to pass laws to you Christians. You're going to bow to us. If you do what your God says, we're going to punish you. But if you do what we say, your God is going to leave you. Either way, we're in the trick bag. Either way, they have us.
This is not what we were promised. We were promised a society where everyone kind of does his own thing and everyone gets along.
Exactly.
You treat other people with respect.
Exactly.
Some measure of dignity. You don't have to agree with them. They don't have to follow your religion, but you also don't have to follow their religion.
You don't.
But then, now I feel like we're being told we have to follow their religion.
There it is. It's always about who has the gun. See, the civil rights movement should have been, if Martin Luther King Jr. had been a real preacher, he would have known that you don't change people's opinions with the gun. You change their hearts. You're a Godfather aficionado, right?
Yeah.
That's your Godfather. Okay. You know when first Godfather comes on, that's Michael Corleone sitting down talking with his girlfriend, Kay. And she sees Luca Brasi talking to himself. And she says, Michael, who is that scary man? And Michael said, that's a very scary man. That's Luca Brasi. Tell you a story about Luca. He says, my father has a godson by the name of Johnny Fontaine. Johnny Fontaine's famous now. He said that Johnny was under contract with his band leader. And Johnny wanted to do this movie. The band leader wouldn't let him out. He asked my father if he could handle it. My father said yes. Father goes to the band leader, offers him $10,000 to let Johnny go. Band leader says no. My father says, I'll be back. And this time he brings back Luca Brasi. And he gets Johnny out of the contract with a certified check of $1,000. Kay says, Michael, how did he do that? He said, well, Luca Brasi put a gun to the band leader's head and promised him that either his brains or his signature would be on the contract. Michael, that's a true story. Okay, question, was Vito Corleone a violent man for using Luca Brasi? Of course he was. Martin Luther King Jr. wants to eat a hamburger down south. Racist white man says no. Martin says, I'll be back. This time he brings the federal government. Federal government put a gun to the guy's head. And says, either Martin Luther King or your brains are going to be on their lunch counter, eating that hamburger. God lets him eat. Was Martin Luther King Jr. a violent man? Of course he was. He used violence from a third party.
Yes.
Civil rights movement wasn't a nonviolent movement. A nonviolent movement would have been changing your neighbor's heart by your actions. What does that mean? If he's mean to me, I'm good to him. If you won't let me eat a hamburger at your stand, I'll build another restaurant that's better than yours. You eat at mine for free. If you won't let me go to your school, I'll build a better school than yours and you can send your child to mine for free. You treat me bad, I treat you right, but you're going to treat me like a man. You're going to treat me with respect. I demand that. And this is how you get your respect. Instead, what did they do? They used the gun. In the book of Corinthians, it says 11 people will not enter the kingdom of heaven. The last one is the extortionist. What's the extortionist? An extortionist is the one that uses violence, threats, coercion to get what they want. And that's what the civil rights movement did. It didn't change the hearts of Americans. It extorted them. It told them either give us what we want or we're going to blow your brains out. We're going to put you in jail. That is not the Christian way. And it failed because they used the tool of the devil to get what they wanted. And it continues to fail. We're at the bottom of every socioeconomic statistic in America because we will not do what we've always supposed to have done, and that was live in this meritocracy. How did we break into the NFL? We showed we were better. How did we break into the NBA? Showed we were better. We went out there and we competed. Mano a mano. I'm going to beat you straight up. Okay, if you make a glass that's better than this one that will last for 1,000 years, people are not going to care what your color is. They're going to buy it.
What's the tool of the devil that he used?
Extortion.
Yep.
Extortion, coercion. You're going to give me what I'm going to pass a law that says if you don't give me what I want, the federal government is going to put you in jail or kill you. Now, give me what I want. That is not the Christian way. We're not even supposed to sue each other.
That's right. Bible. On the way to court.
That's right. We're supposed to sit down and
settle your differences.
Yeah.
That's exactly
we're supposed to reason with one another. Well, that's why I'm going to take you to court. No, I'll let it go before I take you to court.
I feel the same way.
I'll let it go. I'll measure you before we do it. And once I trust you, if you break that trust, that's my tax. I trusted him. Shouldn't have. That's on me. Fool me once, what? Shame on you. Fool me right, shame on me. You take it. No, they didn't want to do the hard work. And that's why I tell the LGBTQ community also. Do the hard work. Don't go to the law. Change the minds of your neighbor. All of these things that they are saying about you that you say are not true, prove that it's not true. Don't go and have somebody put a gun to your neighbor's head. That's a Tim Cook. It's openly gay. I buy his product. Why? Because it's the best product out there. iPhone, I buy it. Prove your loyalty. Prove that if you want to be this man's friend, be his friend. Show yourself friendly. But you can't go out there using the law to get it done. We have made this mistake over and over again. Right now, they're marching down in Florida. They want DeSantis to put some type of black history back into public education when DeSantis has passed a school choice bill. If you don't like how the public educational system is educating your children, take it to a private school. No. We're going to make you do it. Coercion. This is all they know. And they put the black preacher up ahead of it all the time. And if any black person, like when Byron Donald just said that the black family was more intact during Jim Crow. Oh, they came up. Byron Donald said black people were doing better during Jim Crow. He didn't say that. He said despite of Jim Crow couldn't destroy us. But the Iron Triangle, the black preacher, the black politician, the black civil rights worker, they will. They have. Slavery didn't kill us. Jim Crow didn't kill us. But the Democratic Party, they're taking us out. They are destroying the black community right now.
You may have come to the obvious conclusion that the real debate is not between Republican and Democrat or socialist and capitalist, right, left. The real battle is between people who are lying on purpose and people who are trying to tell you the truth. It's between good and evil. It's between honesty and falsehood. And we hope we are on the former side. That's why we created this network, the Tucker Carlson Network. And we invite you to subscribe to it. You go to tuckercarlson.com/podcast. Our entire archive is there. A lot of behind the scenes footage of what actually happens in this barn when only an iPhone is running. tuckercarlson.com/podcast. You will not regret it. So you grew up, you're a couple years older than I am. You grew up in far western Tennessee, near Mississippi and Arkansas. Yes. I think in one of the two majority black counties in Tennessee.
Yes.
And you entered school right around the time DSEG was started to roll. So you've actually lived this and seen it.
Yes.
Tell us about the change that you've seen.
I've seen black people lose their virtue. Even though they were poor, they were a virtuous society. Nobody went to jail. Nobody.
In your world that you lived in?
Yeah, nobody. Family stayed intact. People stayed married. Nobody getting divorced. It didn't happen. If a child was born and the parents weren't married, the grandparents took care of that child. It wasn't a single parent environment. He was staying with his grandparents. He had a mother and a father. He was taken care of, or she was taken care of. The people had a sort of majesty about them. They went to church. They were honest. Never saw a police officer hardly, a sheriff's department. People just got along. And now it's changed. The hip hop culture got involved in it. At the beginning of the hip hop culture, they tried to warn people about it. I remember when I think it was Tipper Gore and some other lady tried to warn people about
in the 80s.
In the 80s. The NAACP, C. Lawrence Tucker got involved, warning people about it. And then all of a sudden, from what Suge Knight says, Suge Knight said they started paying them and they all shut up. They started giving them money. And now the NAACP gives awards to them. Now all of the urban leagues, they give these guys awards. And the hip hop culture is a culture of sex, violence, and materialism. No virtue whatsoever. How many jokers you shot, how many women you slept with, how much money you got, violence, sexual gratification, virtueless. And Thomas Wolfe said, the great writer Thomas Wolfe said that culture is the arts elevated to a set of beliefs. So you have the arts, you have the culture, then you have the politics. In your arts, you have religion, you have music, you have books, you have television, radio. Those are the arts. And we allowed a satanic movement to take over the arts of the black community, and now it spread into the white community. And that was the hip hop culture. And you and I are listening to the Temptations and listening to all this great music going on, right? Stacks. These people listen, I want to kill an N-word, I want to F again word. I mean, this little rapper in Memphis by the name of Glorilla, not Gorilla, Glorilla.
Yes.
Just was invited to the White House. Her hit record at the time was IFN words for free. Gets a White House invitation. Barack Obama had all of them at the White House at one time. Had a little hip hop festival in the Oval Office. He had Rick Ross and Dr. Dre, Snoop, all of them. And all I'm talking about killing. So you see how a young society that wants to understand what right is, right? In our time, you had astronauts and Nobel laureates brought to the White House, right? And you say, that's what I want to aspire to be. Those people you brought to the White House were the people you aspired to be, the heavyweight champion of the world, right? The Super Bowl champs, right? Those were the people you aspired to be. And now they bring these people and say, you should aspire to be that. And then they're alarmed when they are that. Well, you had Snoop at the White House. Snoop talking about smoking blunts every day. And he's on TV selling more merchandise than Morgan Freeman is right now. What is Snoop selling? Cars and selling beer and he's selling sneakers. And he a dope fiend. Talked about killing folks, talked about robbing people. But they made him a hero. And people look at this and they say, well, why are these things happening? That's why these things are happening, because you hold these people up as heroes in our society. Violent, evil, sadistic individuals. And when your children act like them, you're alarmed. Women walking around half naked talking about having sex with people. Then when they do it, they're shaking like them. You say, oh, what's going on? And you just kind of look at them and say, yeah. So you're wondering why middle class white Americans treat you this way. I'm afraid of snakes because every time I looked on TV, a snake was killing somebody. So I don't like them. If you want to see me run out of here, let a snake come through that door right now. Okay, I'm leaving. All right. You have a hip hop culture that put all on television. Black men shooting people, black men raping people, black men doing dope, black men kicking in doors and spraying the whole freaking room machine gun. And then when they see the black man that looks like that come near them and they kind of get apprehensive, well, you a racist? No, I'm sane. You look like the person on TV that does these things. If I saw a white man walk to me with a swastika in the middle of his head, I don't look at him and think he's going to be a friend of mine. And he walks to me, hey man, why are you tripping? Man, you got a swastika in the middle of your head. Well, I'm tripping. So you want to ask the question of these young people. We all wear uniforms, don't we? If you see a house on fire and there's a fireman over there with a fireman, you say, hey man, go. He says, oh no, I'm just wearing this. You get mad at him. Police officer do get mugged. Hey man, you know, oh no, I'm just wearing this uniform. I'm not really a police officer. Well, you see a young man looking like a thug. And you treat him like a thug. He said, well, actually, I graduated from Harvard. Well, man, why do you want to look like a thug? Well, I can dress the way I want to. Yes, you can, and you're dressing like a thug. And I'm treating you like one. Why would an intelligent man want to be looked upon as a thug? Why would an intelligent woman want to be looked upon as a whore? Why are you dressing like one? And these children look confused. You know why? Because no one is telling them what right is any longer. In the military, it was this thing that you knew what right was. Shoes shine, creases and down the seams, standing straight. It was written down. This is what right is. When you grew up, your father make your bed up in the morning time. Always tell the truth. You will have children going up now where the parents are teaching them to steal, teaching them to lie, teaching them how to get over. I learned that when I worked in prison for 5 years. These guys were antisocial. They had been taught a completely different values than I had. And it was almost like what Mao was talking about when he talked about re-education camps, right? You say, oh, man, it's got to be a cultural reformation, but that's what they've done to America now. People will actually sit down and argue with you about whether or not gay sex is right between two men. And I grew up and say, no fornication is right outside of marriage. And if you screw up, what do? You repent and God will forgive you. But to sit here and try to tell me that the Christian faith allows for fornication outside of marriage or gay sex, you're a liar. And why would you tell a child that? Why would you take away the ability for him to repent? See, that's what pride is, isn't it? What did C.S. Lewis say the most damnable sin was? Pride. There's a few things in the Bible that God hates, and one of them is pride. God hates pride. It's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yes.
What do they call their movement? Pride. Pride. I'm going to make you do what I want you to do. It's all about me, my truth. I want to be seen. Well, you and I as men said, well, the Bible tells us, don't worry about how man views you. But they said, I demand to be seen. I demand that you treat me the way that I want to be treated. Pride. Pride. And what does pride say? If you come up and tell them, you're doing something wrong, I'm not. And therefore, I'm not going to ask for repentance. I'm not going to ask for reconciliation. I'm not wrong. Honey, even if you are wrong, he'll forgive you. There's no injury in asking for forgiveness. I'm not going to do it. Oh, that's terrible. Because that's what our whole religion is built upon. Us being very flawed. Jesus knowing that we're flawed. But recognizing the flaw and reconciling. It's just that simple. And pride tells them, don't you dare say that you're wrong. Don't you dare say you need any type of reconciliation or repentance or forgiveness. Don't you dare. And these children are buying into it. And it's destroying them.
What's the effect of a boy growing up in a female-led household and then, multiply that by millions and you have, over 70% of boys growing up in the Black community, but now also in among whites in a female-led household? Like, that's a huge change. And what does it produce?
The discipline and the protection of the father is necessary. Sometimes women would just want the father to be a breadwinner. No, that's third or fourth down the line. He's to love his family before he even provides for them. He's to protect them before he loves them and protects them first. Provides discipline, spiritual counseling, providing sustenance is down the line. Because without those first four, whatever he provides is no good. So they've taken away his protection. In many ways, some women do it well, but a very few. Women have a difficulty being as stern with their sons as men do, because it's just something about two males being in a house, especially when they start growing up. And the father knowing what's out there waiting for his son, that other men will kill him, that other men will take full advantage of him in a way that a woman does not understand.
That's true.
A father knows this. There are things that happen to you and I we have never ever talked to our wives about.
That's for sure.
Our daughters about. But you'll pull your son over and say, listen, you need to watch this. They can give you nuances. They can tell you how to walk. They can tell you how to talk. Put some bass in your voice. Put a grip behind that handshake. Look him in the eye. Fathers teach their sons that. I'm going to take you to get your first job. You show up early. You leave late. You don't steal. You don't lie. Do you understand me? If you have to deal with me. He teaches them in the morning time, make your bed, do your chores. If not, there's going to be hell to pay. It's rote. It's binary all the time. As he gets older, the gray areas can come in and he protects him. So a lot of Black women now like to have a lot of gay men around their children. Father wouldn't have it. And then what happens, a lot of these young men are being molested at an early age and their first sexual experience becomes their lifestyle. And now there is a category of HIV from 12 to 17 years old. Who's giving these children AIDS? Who's giving them HIV? So this whole protection thing, this instinct that men have when it comes down to their boys. My father would tell my mother, look, you stay out of this. There's things going to have to happen between me and Vince that you don't need to see. Because he knew my mother couldn't handle it. He would tell you, he'd tell you, I don't care how it is, that y'all need to be mowed today and I'll be back at 5 o'clock. It needs to be done. If it wasn't done, it was going to be hell to pay. And it wasn't emotional. It was rote. We had an agreement. You didn't do it. This is where the discipline in my family, me and my brothers come from. Came from Dad. And now Dad is the most affable old gentleman you can meet. But he understood at that time he was raising boys. He was to be men. And that he had to teach us in our faith. On Sunday, you went to church. You did your chores. You respected your parents. You respected adults. You respected authority. And he would always tell us, the name you got is my name. It's not yours. It's mine. And it reflects on me. So don't go out there and mess up my name. And he was serious about that. And we took it to heart. See, when you don't have a man in the house to tell a son that and look him in his eye and let him understand, because sometimes a boy can be 15, 16 years old. He's as big as I am.
Okay.
How's a 120, 30-pound mother going to handle him? They can't.
How did the boys in your family do?
Everybody did well.
Really?
Everybody. I had a brother that died young. He died at 39 years old. Everyone else is done fantastically well. Our family story is an American story because we believe in this country. We don't walk around talking about racism and white folks and the government. Whenever there's a problem, we look at ourselves and say, what did we do wrong? It's empowering to be able to say, I can look in the mirror and I can change my circumstances.
That's right.
I screwed up. I can make it better, and I will.
Blame yourself first. I agree with that.
Always. And we hold each other up to that standard. That is not what the black community is being taught now about black preacher, black politician, black civil rights worker. Everything's the government. Everything's a white man. Everything is white supremacy. As I've said before, you talk about equality. Well, who you want me to be equal to? Whom? Point him out to me. Show me the white man that you want Vince Ellison to stand up and say, I want to be equal to you. It's ridiculous. You're talking about white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. White privilege. I said, well, it is a privilege to be white, but it's also a privilege to be black. It's a privilege to be an American. It's a privilege to be a Christian in America. It's a privilege to be alive today. Talking about white supremacy. Well, look, I'm an heir of Jesus Christ and I'm a child of God. There's nobody superior to me. Nobody. If he is, point the superior man out to me. I like to see him. We'll put it to the test. Superior to me. You know what? We all have gifts. We're not like a herd of wildebeest that run, a flock of crows. No. God we're all ornery for a reason. We all have free will. And he has given us all certain sparks to make us want to do certain things. And when a man finds that spark and finds his gift, isn't the world a beautiful place? I mean, your air conditioner goes out, right? You call an HVAC guy. And he's a great HVAC guy, you love him. Your transmission goes out in your car, transmission guy fixes your car. You have a pain in your chest, you go to a heart doctor, he fixes your heart. You're hungry, you'll get a good meal, right? You have a good landscaper. We all depend on each other. And when we find these gifts, the world is a beautiful place. And we are supposed to help each other find these gifts. We're supposed to elevate one another because we depend on one another.
That's right.
We all do. And God has given all of us gifts to live in this society and make it a whole. And instead of fighting and arguing and saying, I want your gift, I want what you got. And if you don't give it to me, I have a right to come and take it from you. That's wrong. And that's the type of envy and hatred that they put in this society. This is why our 10th commandment said, thou shalt not covet anything of your neighbor. Not your gift, not your possessions, not your wife, nothing. I am supposed to admire you. The flip side of envy is admiration. I came to this beautiful facility of yours. That's Carlson make me sick. Think he balling. No, I came to some of this place. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. God, I admire it. And you have envy. You need to pay your fair share. And then you feed this to children and tell them that if somebody else has something that you want, you have a right to go to government and tell government, I want that. And then government comes and puts a gun in their hands and says, you're going to give that up. And we've created a sick society that believes that. And it all came out of the civil rights movement.
What'd your dad do?
Dad right now is retired, but from the time Dad was about maybe 23 years old, he did insurance. And then from that time, and then around about, Daddy was about maybe 35, he started a gospel music program in Brownsville and did that till 3 or 4 years ago. Dad is one of the most well-respected people in that area. He, because of his influence on radio, he's charities, raised money for people, programs. And he started out basically orphaned by his parents, raised as son of sharecroppers. And then he started doing that. And he aspired. And he got a job in the insurance industry. He brought us out of poverty. And he had a heart attack when he was 55 years old that killed, this is not hyperbole, Tucker, killed everybody in the world that ever had it. He's a medical anomaly. People from all over the world came to study him to see how he was still alive, much less the fact that he was walking around every day and working without needing oxygen. It's still unexplainable to doctors how he's done it.
How old is he?
Dad is 80, he'll be 82 on his birthday, June 12th. Wow. Now, when we were at Vanderbilt Hospital, and he didn't want my sisters and my mother to hear this, so he called me and my brother in. And he said, I want y'all to hear what the doctor's telling me here so y'all know what's really going on. And the doctor said, if your father didn't have a heart transplant, he'll be dead in 6 months. And we were shocked because we didn't know it was this bad. And Dad said, now I want y'all to also hear what I'm gonna tell this doctor. He said, I know you're the best heart surgeon in the state. I appreciate what you told me, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not going anywhere. God's gonna heal me. And the doctor said, Mr. Ellison, I appreciate your faith. You're gonna be dead in 6 months if you don't get a heart. That was 27 years ago. I asked Dad, I said, how did you know that you were going to be healed? You're going to be taken care of. His two grandparents were elderly. Well, his two parents that really were very elderly. And he took care of them till the day they died. Took care of them. He said, my Bible says, if you honor your father and your mother, that God promises you 70 years. That's 70 years. He said, I was only 55 years old. God still owed me 15 years. That's what he told me. And he's still thriving. That's how much he believes in his faith. And I learned all of that from him. This absoluteness, that it is a journey. He says, I've seen the ending of the book. I've came from the front and I've gotten to the back of it and I read the last page. And guess what? I win.
So at one point you were telling me at breakfast that your family was a touring gospel group?
Yeah, man. It was fun. It wasn't fun for us, I ain't gonna lie. Dad always loved music. He just always loved it. And he used to singing, quartets when he was younger. And guys wouldn't do right, bringing women, wouldn't show up. Drinking. So he decided that he still loved to sing, but he wanted to do it in a more controlled situation. So he taught us. One day he came in with a truckload of instruments and told us we were going to learn to play them. Vince, here's the bass. Bubble, here's the drums. And I'm going to teach y'all to play. And we said, okay. And he taught us 3-part harmony. Taught us some songs, and we started going throughout the South, and we got better and better.
You played bass?
I played bass, and I played lead guitar, and I ended up playing keyboards by the end of it. Every time somebody else got old enough to join the group, I had to teach them my instrument and then go learn another one. And so I taught my brother the bass, and then I went to the lead guitar. And then I had another brother come in, and then I went to the keyboards. And we did that until I was about 24 years old. We have 3 albums out. Had a slew of 45s. I always am very, very happy when I go back to West Tennessee and people tell me that they still have our albums in their homes and the pictures of us in their homes. And look, Tucker, this thing was so ingrained in our DNA. We hadn't played together really in 25 years, okay? So Dad was having an anniversary and everybody thought it would be fun for us to play a couple of songs. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a train wreck. So we all showed up at the church to practice. We hadn't played in 25 years. This is literally the truth. So we all plugged in the instruments, me and my brothers and sisters. And I said, okay, first, we're going to set a rule here. If this doesn't sound well, anybody can veto this and say, we don't do this. All right? Everybody said, all right, cool. Anybody can say, we're not doing it, and it's done. Right, cool. We plugged in, and we did a song, and we hit it, boom, and everything was like we did it yesterday.
Really?
And we all just died laughing. We just fell out laughing because we thought it'd be some rust. We thought that we'd forget. No, It was like we were 18 years old playing it again, and we were like, said, "Oh my God, this is ingrained in us." So we got such a big kick out of it once or twice a year. Now we'll just show up at the house. Dad called us 2 weeks ago and said, "Hey, I want to have a jam session." I live in Virginia. He lives in Brownsville. It's about maybe 10 hours away. And when Dad doesn't call to ask for much, and when he calls, we all come. And we all show up at the house, and we sit around for about 5 hours playing the guitars and singing, and just had a great time. And that's what we do. Whenever he calls, we show up, we plug up, we play, and it's just like we never ever left.
Amazing. And you're playing gospel?
Gospel music, yeah. Dad didn't allow blues music playing in the house.
Why? Even though you're in the Delta.
Yeah. It was new then. It was when the transition was being made from all music during that time was gospel music before Stax and Motown. It was all church. And then Stax and Motown started taking the music and turning it into R&B and blues. And people during that time was saying that if you left gospel and went to R&B and blues, you went from the church to the devil. That was it. You went to the devil. People offered my father tons of money for us to start singing R&B and blues. Tons. He would never take it.
Really?
Never.
So you were touring to church, you were performing in churches?
Churches, period. He would not he wouldn't let us go secular at all. And they saw it as that. You remember Al Green, the great soul singer, Al Green?
Yeah.
When all the bad stuff started happening to Al Green, he turned back to the church because he said, this is my punishment. And as life went on, and you started seeing what started happening to a lot of those gospel music.
Oh, yeah.
They went R&B and kind of,
their lives blew up.
Destroyed. Yeah. So again, Dad saved us from that though.
So on that circuit, pardon my ignorance, I'm from La Jolla, but you just drive to another town, another church, you just roll in and
Dad would have he'd have the program set up. We didn't know where we were going usually. I'd ask him on the day off, and we would get up and we go to church on Sunday morning. We load up our instruments, then we go to church. Then we would leave the church, and we would drive probably an hour, maybe 2 hours, no more than 3. But he would have 2 programs kind of set up in the same area. So we would show up at the church. We would get out of church about 11 o'clock. We'd show up at the other church about 1 or 2 o'clock. We'd set up. We'd sing. We'd get out about maybe 5 o'clock. We go eat dinner somewhere. We had to be at the next church at 7. And then we go sing there. We get out there about 10 o'clock.
Oof.
We get home about maybe 1 in the morning. We unload the instruments, and we go to bed, and we get up and we go to school.
Ooh.
And that was it. And that's what we did. And
That sounds grueling.
It was grueling. And we would do it sometimes on Saturdays also. But it kept us out of trouble. It gave us a type of respect in the community. The people looked out for us because they always saw us doing that. And they respected us as young men doing that. And they held us in high esteem for doing it. And many of the blessings that me and my family are enjoying now, people are saying is attributed to us putting forth those efforts as children, going and singing gospel music all around Tennessee. And I believe that.
Do you still listen to gospel?
Oh man, I love it. Love
really?
it. Oh, love it. Don't stop listening to it. Love
so for people who didn't grow up listening to gospel music but think it's pretty great, how would you start? Who would you recommend listening if you got Spotify? Like
Tasha Cobb Leonard. She's just awesome. If you ever listen to Tasha Cobb, she touches your soul. She's young and she's vibrant. She does just great music. Great music.
Tasha Cobb
Leonard. She's very good. It's getting more secularized now.
Yeah.
You get like Kirk Franklin and all them jumping around, and you can't really tell the soul music, the gospel music from the R&B music.
Yeah.
In some ways now. It has to get back to the roots. This is not show business. This is communion. This is worship. You're not coming there to be entertained. You're coming there to commune, to be involved, to worship, to praise God in song. And many times people now will look at a concert, a hip hop concert, and think that they are there to be fed in that way. And so you'll find gospel groups now with lights and smoke and explosions and costumes. And this is entertainment, you know? God doesn't need all that. Jesus did the Sermon on the Mount, right? He didn't even have a mic. He just walked up there and rocked it. And we still remember the sermon because it touched people. It touched people. And that's what gospel music is supposed to do. It's supposed to touch the soul. Spirit touches spirit. And when you go to a real gospel concert and it's communion and it's the people coming together to commune and worship, it's a life-changing experience.
Did you ever play for white audiences?
We would do it very, very sporadically. We would do it in Brownsville. We had this white gospel group called the Layman, and we would do a concert together with them in the gym in Haywood County. And black and white people would come to the concert, and we would sing together, and we would commune together in that way. But it's very rare that we sang in front of white audiences. Very rare.
Huh. Is there a difference?
No, not really. When you start doing Southern gospel, that's why Elvis was so hypnotic to people. Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis and Johnny Cash, they'd all tell you, they go to black churches, listen to black music, they play with black people. If you ever go to Memphis and go to Sun Studios or go to Stax, you'll be amazed at the immersion of black and white people in those studios working together all the time. B.B. King and Elvis worked very close together, knew each other. Black and white musicians loved and played together. They learned. Elvis stayed on Beale Street. They knew him on Beale Street. So the music brought people together. It always did. Elvis would hear about a black concert, gospel singing in Memphis, and he'd just show up. And people said, they look around, and Elvis is in the church, said, now listen to a gospel group sing. He knew them all. But it brought them all together. The music always brought people together. They always enjoyed it. And there's just this lie going on around the nation that made believe that we were all down there fighting and getting hung, getting lynched in race riots. Never saw anything like that growing up.
So, I mean, it's interesting. So you were growing up at the end of segregation. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally. What were the race relations like?
They were fine. I just didn't see it or feel it, Tucker. It just wasn't there. I was never mistreated by white people when I was growing up. I asked my father this question the last time I saw him. I said, Dad, how did white people treat you growing up here? He said, I've never been mistreated by white people. My father actually told me that out of his mouth. I've never been mistreated by white people here, ever. See, Martin Luther King told us he was dreaming about a day that you will not be judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. You will be judged by the content of your character. It is inescapable.
Yes.
But he gave black people a fallback position. People are being judged by the content of their character, and they can say, no, it's the color of my skin. You can't correct skin color. You can correct character. So many people that didn't have what they wanted weren't getting what they wanted. It wasn't based upon their skin color. It was based upon their character, but they were being told it was their skin color. Martin Luther King, for instance, had never been to a public school in his life. Went to Crozer Theological Seminary. He went to Boston University. Never was hungry. His dad went to Morehouse College. Have you seen his house in Atlanta? He lived in a Victorian style, almost like a mansion. He's not a poor guy. Nobody bothered him. He was at 26, he was the head pastor of a large church in Montgomery, Alabama. He's driving a Cadillac, living in an upper class black area of town. His wife was a college graduate. That was a black intelligentsia as a white intelligentsia that had money and lived well. And then you had poor whites and you had poor blacks. It's just how the world works. Somehow or another, though, in the minds of black people in the South, they always said, I can only feel whole if I am loved by white racists. I got to make this Klan.
That's a tough one.
I got to make this Klan member love me. I got to. And it was a type of weird ignorance in that I can only feel good about myself if I'm sitting beside you on a bus or on a toilet or eating a hamburger beside you. Right now, I'd only be concerned about one thing. Is the bus taking me to the same spot? Yeah. Well, I don't give a damn who I'm sitting beside on it, okay? I don't want you sitting beside me. Well, I don't want to sit beside you. Now, what about that? Muhammad Ali says it's a sick mind that wants to be somewhere where he's not wanted. They got a name for people like they call them stalkers. And there's no virtue in it. None. If you don't want me here, you think I'm going to fight to be beside you? We don't serve N-words. Well, I'm not one. But since you called me that, you can't have my money and I don't want to eat here.
Good for you.
Instead, oh, no, I'm going to make you take my money. What? Insanity. Absolute insanity. When Miss Mary got a store down the street that makes better food than they make. No, I'm going to have a sit-in because I want to ride the bus beside you. And a lot of people think that the Montgomery bus boycott ended the segregation on the buses. It didn't. It was the NAACP. They had a Supreme Court decision that did it. Martin Luther King's bus boycott just aggravated a lot of people. They didn't do anything. And then, people don't know this, 2 years later, the black people sat in the back of the bus again because of white intimidation. Yes, they went back to the back of the bus voluntarily in Montgomery, Alabama. They don't talk about that little tidbit of history. They don't tell people that Rosa Parks was an operative, trained at the Highlander Folk School, a communist training camp in Montreal, Tennessee. King, Ralph Abernathy, all of them went there, led by these three communists, Dombrowski and Miles Norton and all of them. They keep that part of a history secret. Yeah, there was a communist training camp in Montreal, Tennessee. They tore it down in the 60s because they found it was a communist training camp. And they're the ones that were training all these people how to use nonviolence resistance to cause violence. Cause violence. They went down to Montgomery and Birmingham and said, we're going to jug at Bull Connor until people start getting water hoses and dogs sicked on them. The concept is to cause violence, to aggravate you until you strike out at me. It's me coming up in your face, so going, and then finally advanced. You better leave me alone now. I'll never touch you, but I put my finger in your face and I messed you to a point where you just, and then I said, Tucker's violent. And those were their tactics. And they did, and nothing good came out of it because the black people are poor in Selma and Montgomery than they've ever been.
I've noticed that. No one seems to care.
They don't care because it was about getting them to vote for the Democratic Party so they could take it over. There were 5 million, 6 million latent black votes down south that they could use. And they understood that Stockholm Syndrome was going to take over and they were going to vote for the Democratic Party. As a matter of fact, if you read the history of that time, when the election of 1960 was going on, Martin Luther King Jr. and the rest of them put this thing called a blue bomb. It was a blue piece of paper that they passed to all the churches in the South. And it was talking about how when Martin Luther King Jr. was locked up in jail, that JFK had given Martin Luther King Jr. a phone call and had talked to his wife, and Richard Nixon did not. And that was enough to get 80% of the black people to vote for JFK down South during the election of 1960 and beat Nixon, who had supported the 1957 Civil Rights Act and the 1960 Civil Rights Act. They gave them the right to vote anyway. But it was the blue bomb that did it. And it was them, again, leveraging the black preacher, who, if you want to talk to an ignorant joker, talk to most black preachers in the United States of America. Man, these guys don't know anything about foreign policy, don't know anything about government. All they know about how to get money in their hands for taking black people to the polls to vote for the Democratic Party. And again, if you want,
is that still the case? Is that still the case that the Get Out the Vote operation in the South among Democrats is still heavily reliant on black preachers?
Oh yeah, you ever heard of Souls to the Polls?
No.
Oh yeah, man, you should look it up. Souls to the Polls is an organization run by that's funded by George Soros and his people, and they give every Sunday before the first Tuesday in November, these churches will use church buses to put their congregants in these buses and take them to the polls and have them vote. And this is unspoken, but for every black person that they can get in the bus, they get about $10, $15. And in my documentary, Will You Go to Hell For Me, I have a picture of Raphael Warnock and John Lewis standing in front of a Souls to the Polls bus. It got Souls to the Polls written on it. So yeah, everybody can look up Souls to the Polls and they'll see that it is something. Matter of fact, before the election this year, Kamala Harris was out there talking about Souls to the Polls. They were out there rallying it. Yeah, and it's all about the black church.
But why? I mean, the program of the modern Democratic Party is about as aggressively anti-Christian as
Sure.
Well, it is the most aggressive anti-Christian platform of any movement in the history of the country.
Yes.
So how could any preacher participate in that?
Two things. They either know it and are corrupt, or they're ignorant to it, which most of them are.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed how many people, I mean, when you and I did the show on George Floyd in October, how it went viral. And that's when Biden's numbers start tanking, because we just exposed so many lies in that interview. I mean, it just went viral. When I went to World Overcomers in Memphis, people were just talking about the interview. They were showing it to me. They had it on their phones. And they thanked me for educating them. On my podcast, the Everett Ellison Show, I educate. I tell people this is what they stand for. Most people in the Republican Party and the GOP is very bad at messaging.
You think?
Them suckers can't sell $1 for 50 cents. They're horrible.
No, they can't.
So, if you ask black people, how do you feel about LGBTQ? I hate it. How do you feel about abortion? Can't stand it. How do you feel about guns? I want my gun. How do you feel about school choice? I want school choice. How do you feel about that border? All we need legal immigration. They'll give it to you on everything. And then you say, well, what party do you think supports your point of view? Democrats do. Now, why would you think that? Nobody's told them any different. So when I show them that the Democratic Party is up for abortion up to the 9th month, it startles them. When I show them that Obamacare and the Democratic Party is for castrating little boys and calling them little girls, giving double mastectomies to little girls and calling them little boys, it startles them. When I show them the Democratic Party votes against school choice every single time, and has used the public education to become, say God is not welcomed here. He's not welcomed here. And that they won't allow us to let Christian education come to the public school, they're startled. Now they've caught on to the fact that Biden is letting all the illegals across the border. They've caught on to that. When we talk about gun control,
they have.
They finally caught on, and that's why his numbers are tanking there too.
Really?
Yeah. They see the Hispanics, the illegals, coming into their communities, and they're upset. Their rents are going up. They are opening up. Their schools are getting crowded out. What really made them angry is when they started seeing them giving these people debit cards with $3,500 on it. And they said, man, hey. And when they see they won't take them to jail, whereas their son gets a $50 speeding ticket and can't pay it, they'll take him downtown.
Exactly right.
If he can't pay his child support, they put him in jail for 2 years, and they won't take a Hispanic down.
Yeah, our family's been here 400 years and we can't get a free cell phone.
Yeah, exactly. When they saw that there are men that cannot get work, but Joe Biden gives 400,000 work visas out to Venezuelans. And they say, hell, I need a job. They saw that in real time, up close and personal. It was, what do they say, all politics are local? They saw this locally. But see, the GOP has been not very good at explaining to people that the voucher program in D.C. is loved by the majority of the people that are there. Black people benefit from it, and Barack Obama and the Democrats kill it every chance they get. We will say the teachers' unions. Well, the teachers' unions aren't on the ballot, are they? The Democrats are. You don't say teachers' unions. You said the Democrats are stopping it. When you start talking about LGBTQ, you don't say LGBTQ. If you do, you connect it to the Democrats and say they are the ones that support it. They have to know who their enemy is. And it has to be known absolutely. When Jesus Christ went in front of the Jews, when he's at the temple, and they were all wondering, why they're being treated so badly. They were all angry at the Romans, right? Christ said, don't worry about the Romans. Your problem is them jokers right over there, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they said, liars, hypocrites, generation of vipers. And he just went off. And that's when they said, he's got to die. He said, it's not the Romans. They're not your problem. Suckers right over there. And see, we have failed to do this. And this is why my book, The Iron Triangle, Book Authority gave it number 61 on the greatest political books ever written in the history of the world, because it blew up all these myths. It told what most black preachers and black politicians and black civil rights organizers were doing. We've held them in high esteem. Oh, the NAACP is great. Oh, Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Movement was great. Oh, the Black Caucus is great. I said, no, they're not. They're the enemy. And then people say, your problem is not the white conservative. Your problem, them jokers, right over there. If you ever take a moment to sit down and talk to your white conservative neighbor, you'll see you're talking to some of the best people that walk the face of this earth. But they won't talk to you because they've been told that you hate them. And you won't talk to them because you've been told that they hate you. And who tells you that? Black preacher, black politician, black civil rights worker. And these people aren't stalkers. They're not going to come to you asking you to accept them. They're the type that's going to say, if you don't like me, that's your problem. You put your hands on me, you're going to have another one. You're welcomed to come to my home. You're welcome to talk to me. If you need a good preacher, I'll find you one. If you're hungry, I'll feed you. If you need a job skill, you get one. But short of that, if you come and try to hurt anything of me or mine, I got two things to keep you off me talking. Is Jesus in my 38. And these people don't understand these people. I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Best people in the world. I'm a big guy. You're a big guy. We're small compared to these men. It's 6'4", 6'6", 6'8".
Yeah, they make them big.
Nicest guys in the world. Man, if your car get in a ditch, there'll be 5 of them pulling it out. If they go and they kill a deer, they'll cut some meat off and leave it on your front porch. Hey, Vince, this is for you. Just when it's harvest time, oh man, they're just piling up food. They take some. Just good neighbors. Great people. But they're men. And you are not going to walk up to them and tell them that they're responsible for your plight. And they have done nothing to you. They're not going to accept it. I don't accept it.
Of course not.
But if you say, I'm a man, you're a man, I'm responsible for myself, you're responsible for me, I need your help, they'll do anything to help you.
Can I ask you, well, 2 questions just about family dynamics. So why is it that, women are obviously much less violent than men on average, but boys who grew up in a female-headed household tend to be more violent? Mm-hmm. What is that? Men are violent.
Most of us have a violent nature, and our fathers teach us to temper it. They teach us control.
Yeah.
From the time we come home from the hospital until the time we leave his house, control yourself. My father had to teach me how to sleep alone. My mother would let me sleep with her until I was 18 years old, right?
Of course.
Dad says no. He has to learn to sleep alone. No. He has to learn to sleep alone. That's a father.
Yeah.
Oh, but my mama picked him up, put him down, let him walk. He's too big to carry. Put him down. He has to walk. She puts him down. You and I have seen mothers carrying boys 3 and 4 years old around in the store. Father, put him down. He got to learn to walk. Fathers know these things. He sets up under his mother. He starts crying, run to his mother. Get away from your mother. Leave him.
Exactly.
Dads do that. But if dad's not there, mother's going to automatically grab him and baby him and rock him. So he never learns to temper himself. Even now when it comes down to the whole LGBTQ thing, right? Do what you want to do. Your father says, no. Control yourself. You can't just jump every woman you want to see. Well, I have a male attraction. You better control that. Why? Because those are the rules, son. Control yourself. Do your duty. But women will raise boys that get in their feelings. Oh, let your feelings guide you. No. Well, what if I don't feel like going to work tomorrow? What if I feel like slapping this woman? What if I feel like cussing my boss out? What if I feel like slacking on the job? My feelings? You and I was taught these feelings are set aside. I'm going to give you a series of rules to follow. Control yourself. When have you heard a liberal or a Democrat ever say such a thing now? Control yourself. Oh, God, you want to walk out. A simple thing like when you go to work in the morning time, there's a certain way you're supposed to act. No, I'm going to come here and act the way I want to act. I'm going to be flaming. I'm going to work the way I want to work. I'm going to wear high heels and lipstick, like Joe Biden and all these freaks in his cabinet. That April Levine, person that works for the Health and Human Services?
Yeah, Rachel Levine.
Rachel, I mean, a man in a dress, and it's like not like that you don't know that's a man in a dress, right?
No.
Sometimes you can see a man in a dress and not know it, right?
Right.
But you know that's a man in a dress, and he wants everybody to lie. You got to walk around him and lie and act like he's not a man in a dress. And if you call him sir, he's going to get an attitude and try to get you fired. So I got to walk around this guy and lie and call him ma'am. If it's wrong, don't do it. If it's a lie, don't say it. It's simple. Call me ma'am. I'm not going to call you ma'am. You are not a woman. And if you come to me about that again, I'm going to show you not a woman because I'm going to knock you out. Stay away from me. They got this other Sam Brenton guy walking around, bald head, red lipstick on, a mustache, with pumps and a skirt. He comes to the job interview with that on. And you're supposed to look at that boy and say, first, okay, this is a joke, right? Somebody's pranking me, right? No, this is real. Hold it. This guy needs help. You don't make fun of him. You don't.
I agree.
Beat him up. You don't. Stay right there and call somebody. We need to pray. This man needs help. And we need to give him the help that he needs. They're exploiting these people. Pete Buttigieg gets married to a man. That's cool. All right. But then he hires him in his cabinet. What is that, middle finger to the church? Yeah, I'm going to put this man. And then all over the world, Xi Jinping and Putin is watching this. Stone cold killers. Looking for weakness. Looking for the boys at D-Day to die. So he says, it's time to take America now. Oh, you know about the Roman Empire with the barbarians at the gate? And the men were too effeminate to defend their own city-state, trying to hire mercenaries to do it. We're headed there. And you got these guys. Again, Vladimir Putin has made it plain. He said, this Western satanic way of living stops here. We're not having this LGBTQ stuff here in Russia. We're not having these anti-Christian, anti-American values here in Russia. I read a story inside the Washington Post that he's militarizing the people to defend his country against it. He said, no, it stops. The Russian Orthodox Church said, no, it stops. You have Viktor Orban in Hungary is concerned about it. It's coming. They said, no, it's not. You have Xi Jinping say it's not coming over here. And the African nations are saying the same thing.
Yes.
And right now we have people in America that have an agenda, and it's a worldwide agenda. That's one of the reasons why they were going into Ukraine. I read this thing from, I forget where I got it, but it's in my new book. But the guy said that to get in the EU, one of the things they had to do was have a gay pride parade in Kiev. It's one of the things you're going to have to do. And they had to get a great gay pride parade, and then they brought it to the Donbass region, and that's when stuff broke off. Because Vladimir says, no, you've taken it too far now. And that's when all the wheels started rolling, and they knew that the EU and NATO was coming in because these are the things that they do. And then they press their ideology further and further. So now Biden has tied most of Americans' foreign policy money to LGBTQ, climate change, and abortion. If you don't allow these things, you don't get the money anymore. And the African nations are saying, what? People are starving. Well, if you don't do this, they'll starve. And so guess who comes and fills the gap? Vladimir Putin.
Exactly. Or Xi Jinping.
And Xi Jinping.
The abortion thing is particularly confusing to me in the United States among black voters because it's so obviously genocidal. Mm. And, you know, if you look at the numbers on whose babies are being aborted and where the abortion clinics are, I mean, that's wildly disproportionate in the black community. And it does seem like, first of all, it's not an accident, but second, it's such a clear sign. Like, I can claim I love you, but if I'm putting an abortion clinic in your neighborhood and encouraging you not to have children, what am I saying? I'm saying I want you extinct.
Do you know what the first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award?
No.
Martin Luther King, 1966.
Wow. I didn't know that. Margaret Sanger was not a friend to the community, as we say.
Planned Parenthood. And the Negro Project. She called us human weeds. She said, more for the fit, less for the unfit. She had a thing called the Negro Project where she wanted to exterminate the black community because we were human weeds as far as she was concerned. And Martin Luther King Jr. helped us set up abortion clinics and got the Margaret Sanger Award in 1966. When I heard from people, he didn't know what was going on, they duped him. I said, well, they have it on display at his center.
That's actually true?
Yes. And I said, well, have they given the award back yet?
The Human Weed Award?
Yeah. No, they haven't. All right, then. That means that they're proud of it because they still display it. They still say, we didn't know this. Take this award back. you know. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. was the first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award in 1966. Did you know the king was excommunicated from the black church?
No.
Yeah, in 1961, he was going to take it over for the civil rights community. They had this bishop by the name of Bishop Jackson. And Jackson said, no, the church was not supposed to be involved in politics. If you want to be involved in politics, go join the NAACP.
Yeah.
Go join the Urban League. But the church is supposed to get you prepared to live forever in the presence of Jesus Christ. We're in the ecclesiastical matters. We're not going to be marching. We're not going to be doing sit-ins. Well, King and his crew wanted to take over the National Baptist Convention. They had been given their orders from Stanley Levinson and the Comintern to do this. So they had a plan. Taylor Branch talks about this in his book, and also David Garrow talks about it. But if you just go onto the Progressive Baptist National Convention website, they'll tell you about it too. They went to the convention in Kansas City, the National Baptist Convention. It was a 10 million member organization. Almost all black people back there were Baptist. And so the Baptist churches had this convention called the National Baptist Convention. King and his boys were going to go there, and they were going to force a vote on the floor. And King had a guy that he was going to put up. He wanted him to be president, and King was going to be his puppet master, okay? So they were going to force the vote, and they had a plan to go on the floor and push their way through. And I don't know what this means, but somehow or another, it's supposed to work and take the floor. They did it. And a fist fight breaks out. Preachers in there fighting. One of the preachers got killed during the melee. This preacher happened to be Bishop Jackson's best friend. Fractured his skull and he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
At the convention.
Yeah. They had to bring in SWAT team, the riot police. And the mayor, it got so bad that the mayor of Kansas City even came in, told him to cut this mess out.
Why have I never heard this story before?
Yeah. So King loses the vote. The preacher dies, and Bishop Jackson holds King personally responsible for it. He excommunicates King from the Baptist church, kicks him out. So King gets smart, and he wants people to still believe he's affiliated with the Baptist church. So he starts his own religion, his own church, and it's called the Progressive National Baptist Convention. That's the sect that Raphael Warnock Raphael Warnock belongs to. Senator Raphael Warnock from Georgia. This is why Raphael is so progressive and so liberal when it comes to abortion and gay rights, because that's what these guys do. They're an apostate group of weirdos, malcontents, and perverts. And they started an apostasy in the black church. So when black people saw Baptist in King's organization, they thought he was still with the National Baptist Convention.
Well, I fell for it too.
Yeah. I did too about 2 years ago. I was doing research on Raphael Warnock, and I saw he was with the PNBC. I said, what was the PNBC? So I looked it up, and it said King started it, And then I looked through the books in my library, and I saw that Taylor Branch had written about it and had done a chapter on it. And he went into it in depth. And I said, how much else do I not know? And then I found out about the Margaret Sanger Award.
That's shocking to me.
And I'm saying, good God. Then you found out that he plagiarized his doctorate dissertation at Boston U. And the only reason why they didn't take it back is because they didn't want to be called racist. And then you come to find out he's not a Christian. And I'm sitting here in my late 50s saying, I'm a well-educated man. My family is well-educated. Doctors and lawyers, nobody knew it. Nobody. I have scholars in my family, and I'm calling all of them. Didn't know. And I'm sitting there and saying, oh my goodness. This is one of the reasons I do what I do, because I know with information, people change their minds. Because it changed everybody I gave it to. And they were sitting there saying, oh my God. So I've done a podcast on it, and people hear it, and I'm thinking I'm going to get cussed out. This, you know good. You always to a man. Thank you. I didn't know. Thank you. It explains a lot. Thank you. Now I understand. And this is why what you do is so important. You have this huge megaphone that people listen to. And when you do this and give a person like me an opportunity to come on and say these things, man, it's effective.
Well, because I think, I don't know the truth about almost anything, but I do know that what I have been told is likely untrue in almost every category. And I think people have arrived at that conclusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you see the results of it.
They're more open-minded.
Yeah, they are.
Well, so I would say this, there's a lot about, I thought I knew a lot about civil rights history because I learned about it, every year at school. But I do know that the fruits have not been what were promised at all.
Right.
It actually hasn't worked. You're from around Memphis.
Exactly. Oh, God.
I was talking to one of your sisters this morning who lives in Memphis, and when I lived near Memphis 30 years ago in Little Rock, Arkansas, and people would drive from Little Rock to Memphis for the weekend, like take your wife there for a fun weekend, stay at the Peabody Hotel.
I was there. I went to college, University of Memphis. I was there. Yeah, great.
It was a cool town.
Great city. Yeah.
And now, it's the most dangerous city in the United States, or certainly one of them. It's like in free fall. So clearly, this isn't working.
They know it's not working. They have the same stats in front of them that we have, Tucker, but a Democratic Party heaven is an American hell. I saw that great interview you did with President Bukele.
Yeah, from El Salvador. Bukele, yeah, good guy.
And he talked about spiritual warfare, that he recognized it as that.
Yes.
That MS-13 was satanic and they were doing rituals.
Literally.
It's literal satanic. And he said that when they hit him, they killed 84 people in 3 days. And he said, what did we do? He said, we prayed.
That's right.
He said, and we prayed for wisdom. And he said, and we knew we were in a spiritual war. And then he said, a miracle happened. And they shut all of that down. And he said, and people in America were mad at us because they knew that we could do it here. They could do it there.
Yes.
And they don't want it done here because if people live it's like people going to a plantation owner and say, hey man, why don't you teach your slaves how to read? What? Then they'll know they're slaves.
Right.
Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 people. I'd have freed 1,000 more if they just known they were slaves. I'd have freed them. But I was telling you about how in the black church, they were telling we were under the curse of Ham, that we were supposed to be where we are. See, you
actually heard a preacher say that?
Oh, yes, many, yes. They do the same thing now, Tucker. They walk around telling black people, your country hates you. White supremacy. White supremacy? The flip side of white supremacy is black inferiority. We must stop white supremacy. Well, that means blacks are inferior. We have to ask for DEI. Why? Because we can't compete with you because you're so freaking good. We need government interference. We need government to help us because I can't compete with the white man. All right, thank you very much. I guess I am inferior then. Because I say the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life was affirmative action and DEI. Now think about this. You're a black man, right? You're saying businesses and the government are racist. And everybody says, yeah. What's your solution to this? Let the businesses and the government go to the black community and decide these racist businesses and racist governments, go down to the black community and decide what black people they're going to elevate. So you're going to let the racists decide what black people are going to be elevated. Yeah, that's right. Who you think they're going to pick, Malcolm X or Stephen Fetchit? They don't want to end discrimination, Tucker. They want to control,
of course,
discrimination. They want to have this program so they say, okay, you decide what black person gets what. And they get all their cronies. And that's what's happened for the last 50, 60 years. If you want to see the contempt the Democratic Party has for black people, turn on MSNBC and just look at Al Sharpton and Joy Reid. Look like a damn fool. She got Trump hair. She hates Donald Trump and got Trump's hair on her head.
How is she taken seriously?
By some, obviously, because they keep her on. Al Sharpton still press his hair and the conch left the black community.
Conch, exactly.
The conch left when David Ruffin left the Temptations back in 1967.
It's an old school look, I will say.
Look like a fool. But you know what? That's how they see us. You know the word was out that Al Sharpton was a drug dealer back in the day.
Yeah.
What's the mafia guy you had on your show?
The who?
The mafia guy, ex-mafia guy.
Oh, what a great guy.
Oh, God, the guy is awesome.
Oh, gosh. I texted with him the other day.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. He's awesome. And he came out on Real Sports.
Yeah.
With Brian Gumbel and told the Al Sharpton story. Said that, Al was, and then Al had to come out and admit to it. Yeah, he's a snitch.
Oh, he was an FBI snitch.
Yeah, out there selling drugs. Now I heard that, they wanted to end menthol cigarettes in the black community, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Biden pulled back on it because they started saying it might make black people mad at him, and Joe don't want to lose any votes, right? So let him die. They said to save between 300,000 and 600,000 lives in the next few years. Joe said, I'm gonna lose some votes here. Let them die. Votes?
Why am I laughing? It's so grotesque.
Hell, let them die. They just black people. Let them die. So I smelled a rat, right? I said, what turned Joe Biden away from this? I said, I think I got a pretty good idea. So I smelled a rat, and I put that rat's name in and put in menthol cigarettes, and Al Sharpton showed up. I said, wait, him again? Hasn't this clown done enough? So the cigarette manufacturer called Al up and said, Al, we're going to give you some money to go down into the black community and put some heat on Joe Biden, right, to keep him from banning these menthol cigarettes because we're getting paid, And so Al was trying to be slick. He didn't want to go against NAACP, so he decided to corrupt George Floyd's brother and Eric Garner's mother and had him go down there and talk for him. So he even had to be on the front pages behind.
Wait, George Floyd's brother is a menthol cigarette lobbyist?
Yeah.
He's working for Newport now?
He's working for Al Sharpton, and Al paid him under the table, I guess. And Eric Garner's mother, he sent them down to talk for the menthol cigarettes to stay in the black community. And then they started putting the heat on Joe Biden. Joe Biden pulled it back because they said it might cost him some votes. So George said, let them die. They've taken all other flavored cigarettes out, that the white people smoke.
Yeah.
But when it comes to black people, the menthol makes the nicotine more addictive, right? And everybody knows this, okay? And for some reason, when they were addicting the communities to cigarettes back in the 40s and 50s, they were just giving them away. They were giving the menthol cigarettes away in the black community.
For sure.
And so black people were smoking them. And I always wondered why black people smoked certain brands, Cools, Newports.
Yeah.
But they were giving them away. And the father...
Was that true when you were a kid too?
Yeah. My father didn't smoke.
Yeah.
He never smoked. My mom didn't smoke, so I didn't smoke. So I would see my uncles and black men, everybody smoked except my dad and my mom. And I always kind of wondered why they smoked the same brand. And I never saw white people smoking them.
They're like, nasty cigarettes.
Yeah, I've never... And so... so I hadn't thought about it at all till I read this story about Biden pulling back the ban on menthol cigarettes. And I said, there's got to be something behind this. Is always follow the money, right?
Well, of course.
And there stood Al Sharpton. I said, boy, now he's killing black people with menthol cigarettes. 600,000 black lives. I guess black lives don't matter when it comes to menthol cigarettes. So they gave Al a little money and... Somebody said, Al, if you take this money, 600,000 black people are going to die. He said, and? How much money am I getting?
But it is, I think you're absolutely right. I never thought of it this way. Well, I guess because I'm not black, but it's an expression of contempt.
Yes.
That's exactly what that is.
Those idiots.
Here are your spokesmen. Here are your leaders, Joy Reid and Al Sharpton. You obviously don't think much of me.
Tucker, you and I both know black people that are much more qualified. Much better at what they do.
Well, yeah, I do, actually. I do.
Well-spoken, better looking. I can understand how Joe Biden looked at Al Sharpton and thought that black people weren't clean, okay? Look at it, right? So, you look at these people that they choose. The DEI hires, right?
Yeah.
They're on our community. Jim Clyburn, Maxine Waters. Bunch of idiots. I mean, if you ever get the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with them, you're going to walk away saying, oh my God, black people are doomed. These people are absolutely moronic. And they are leading the black community. And they are the stupidest people walking the face of this earth. From Sharpton to Jackson, to Clyburn, to Maxine Waters. Oh my goodness. And, I'm warning black people about them because you asked the question. I tell them, look at where they rule. They're all kings over ghettos, standing on their ashes, playing the fiddle, drugs, fighting, dope, terrible schools, family breakdown, graffiti. Man, you wouldn't let your dog live in the places these people live in Detroit and Chicago and New York. And they are there, and then what happens when they run for office, there's no opposition because the Republicans don't even show up down there.
No, it's true.
They don't even show up. There's no opposition anymore in Chicago and in these black majority districts. None. So these people are left to be smitten and beaten down and destroyed in a one-party system. This is why I say, as Taylor Brandt said in his book, that in 1956, the communists in America were given instructions to turn the black community into a direct opposite of the Soviet bloc. And they've done it. One-party rule, dictator worship, apostate religion, poverty, drug abuse, government dependency. It's a third world country and a first world country. The black community in these cities, something like Haiti, or worse. And it started out with Martin Luther King Jr., whose whole life was a Diddy party. Orgies and smoking and fighting and whipping up on women. Martin Luther King Jr. make a Diddy party look like a Catholic convent school. Just showed they natural ass.
He was smoking a menthol cigarette when he was killed.
Yes, he sure was. He was smoking a menthol cigarette
Salem.
when he got shot. And had been fighting and beating up women the night before. And drinking and...
It's interesting. I hesitate even to say it out loud, but you're just from such a different... I can see why you're mad about this, because you're just from a different world.
Yes.
And the world you grew up in was not collapsed or pathetic. It sounds like, no.
No. There's always a penalty for lying to the strong. Some people you can lie to and say, well, no. You lied to the wrong joker. You're going to have to pay for it. I'm one of those type of guys.
Yes.
See, I was taught up to revere these people. Martin Luther King Jr.'s picture's still in my daddy's house right now. Revere them. What they said was right. It was canon. And then when you're searching it, it's almost like when C.S. Lewis was talking to Tolkien, and Tolkien was trying to tell, C.S. Lewis was an atheist, and Tolkien believed in God. And, I would have loved, and there's a book how these two brainiacs discuss this, right? Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, walking around Cambridge discussing this. And Tolkien finally hit C.S. Lewis with an absolute fact. He said, Jesus Christ was either a maniac.
Yes.
Oh, he's exactly who he said he was. There's no middle ground here. Now you got to decide. And Lewis looked at all the evidence. He said, man went crazy. He had to be who he said he was. And he said he had to deal with it. He went through a convulsion. And after that, who C.S. Lewis became? The greatest Christian apologist of the 20th century.
That's for sure.
Learned so much from him, from his writings. I mean, he died on the same day that JFK died.
Yes.
And I'm reading his works, and they've led me to great places. Hell is a choice, right? Pride, the most damnable sin. We were brought up, black pride. That's whoa, pride's a damnable sin. I don't even use the word anymore. I tell my children I'm pleased with them. What did God say to Jesus, my son, who I'm well pleased?
Yes.
We don't use pride in our household. We use esteem. I'm esteemed. I aspire. I tell my children, I'm well pleased with you. Because pride is something God hates. And what have the left done? They made it a virtue. And children are dying because of pride. That's why they pull their pants down. Pride. You offended me. I don't care. What does a humble person do? They walk in and say, I don't want to do anything to offend you, sir.
Oh, exactly right.
So tell me the rules here, and I'll abide by them.
Because I'm putting your needs, your feelings above my own.
Exactly. Oh, not the left. Me. What do they say? Me, my truth, me. God hates that. And they try to use it as a virtue. Tolerance. Tolerance is a sin. Billy Graham did a great sermon on the sin of tolerance. My next book coming out at the end of July is called The End of Tolerance. I'm telling America our tolerance has to end. We have to become intolerant of these things. And we can't be afraid to say that we are. No further. You're not bringing this in my household. You're not saying this to my child. We're not allowing this any longer. I'm not going to allow you to sexualize my child. I'm not going to allow you to bring a drag queen into school and shake his ass in my son's face. I'm not going to allow you to corrupt my children. I'm not going to allow it. You have to stand firm and say, I'm not going to allow it. Tell her mother, I'm not going to allow you to feminize my son. We have to start telling the court system, you're going to stop taking boys away from their fathers who can rear them correctly and give them to women who, even though they might try, they don't have the ability to do it. You know it. Why? Well, that's about 60 years of empirical evidence to show that to be true. We have to start putting together a society again where, if you read this book, my brother gave it to me, about the governor of Maryland, Westmore, the two Westmores. I don't know if you've heard of it. Oprah had it on her book club thing. But it was a book about Westmore who became governor of Maryland, black man. And another Westmore that ended up in prison. And he talked about how their lives separate. But the Westmore of Maryland said that they were both going in the same direction until his mother grabbed him. He was smoking weed, wasn't doing well in school. His mother went and borrowed money from everybody in the family and took him to a military school and said, get out. And they raised him and they gave him discipline. He ended up going to Oxford. They know this works. From Marva Collins at Westside Prep to all these schools around here in America, they know this works. But you don't teach the slaves on your plantation to read. They will leave the plantation. This is why the GOP has to say, and I talked about this with a good friend of mine, Dave Brett, down at Liberty University. He used to be a congressman.
Yeah, I know.
And Dave said, Vince, it's going to be Christian businessmen that do this. It's not going to be the churches. It's not going to be the politicians. It's going to be people like me and you, Tucker, like you doing your job. You do it every day, and I applaud you for it, that says, I'm my brother's keeper. If that child's a Christian, he's my brother. And I'm obligated to assist them. Why? He's my brother. You and I talked about brothers, right?
That's right.
Our brothers stand together. He's my brother. And therefore, we are obligated once we get to a point in life to say, we got to go back and get some. We got to go back and get some. We have to. And we have to stop doing and we sometimes get trapped in what liberals do. Let's use government. Let's go to government. Let's go to government. So why would we have to go to government? When we are captains of industry, when we have millions of dollars, when if we just do it ourselves, we can scholarships, we can set up boarding schools, we can get these really troubled. Let's start at the troubled boys first. And let's go and say, Miss Jackson, your son is flunking out of school. He's in the 2nd grade. He's going to end up where his dad is, in prison and on dope. We can take him and educate him and make a man out of him by the time he's 18, and he'll take care of you for the rest of your life. Can we have him? You can see him on the weekend. She'll say, I'll take him. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. That's what we must start doing, and that's how we reconnect the chain. By going and recognizing, because if the Black community is corrected, 60% of the crime in America fades away. The carjackings in D.C., Tucker, and in Memphis, it's been done by young Black, and they're getting younger and younger. Man, I read a story that hurt my heart. It was a special needs guy in Washington, D.C. He had 2 fingers on each hand. I think he's in his 50s. Him and this guy had gotten into it on the street about something, arguing or fighting. And it had ended. And a group of 5 Black girls under the age of 15 asked the guy, can we jump on him? He said, yeah, go do it. And they beat the guy to death. This was about maybe a month ago. Beat him to death. And you say, what type of society do we have now? Almost 20 juveniles have been killed in D.C. already this year, under the age of 18, shot in the street. And it happens all the time now where we're numb to it. There's a way out. We have to go back to our Christian virtue. We have to go back to loving our neighbor as ourselves. And like I said, we want Christian men to first love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Then you love your neighbor as yourself, because as we discussed before, unless you love God first with your heart, soul, and mind, you can't love yourself. How do you love yourself unless you don't love God? Then when you love him and the peace of God comes over you, then you know how to love your neighbor. And we're not talking about some idol like hip hop music, love money. Yeah, that's your God, right? Well, if that's the case, what you gonna do to your neighbor, right? We're gonna sell them dope. We're gonna put them into prostitution. Why? Because that's my God. I love my God as myself. So we have to go back to our Christian standards. Then we have to go back. Then we take care of our families. Then we go and we help our brothers and sisters in Christ. And when Christian businessmen and women get together and say, forget the GOP, bunch of crook liars, sycophants. We're going to do this ourselves. And you already know this, that charities, public charities always do better than government. Always. Hell, they tax us at such a high rate, though, we can hardly use any of that money to send it to charity. But that's what we have to do. And we have to put out the alarm. The stuff that you do, man, I don't know. You're here in Maine right now, and you're kind of isolated like I am in the Blue Ridge Mountains. You don't know the effect you have on America. I hope you know.
No.
It is absolutely, positively tremendous. On my way down, I always travel in a suit. My dad taught me that. James Brown said, wherever you go, even if you're traveling, you got to strut, right? So I'm coming down and said, hey, man, what you doing? I said, I'm going to do an interview with Tucker. Everybody knows your name. It wasn't a person that I talked to. I flew from Richmond, had to go to Atlanta. So I went 500 miles south for some reason to come back up here. Went to Atlanta and then flew from Atlanta up here. And everybody that stopped me and talked to me, and I told them I was going, everybody knew who you were. Black, white, Asian, didn't matter. Everybody knew Tucker Carlson. And everybody said, oh man, he's great. And I'm looking at, everybody. Love Tucker. Tell him I said hi. Tell him, okay,
you're making me feel like I should leave my house once in a while.
Look, in Lynchburg, everywhere I went, when I would tell people say, oh, Vince, what do you do? I was on Tucker. You Mr. Tucker? And then they lean in. And there's never been a person I've met ever at the gym, at the grocery store, at church, on the street. And when I mention your name, they do not know who you are.
Well, you haven't met, obviously, a lot of unmarried 45-year-old white female lawyers. They're not my fan. Take a quick break. Okay, take a break. Hit the men's.
Go ahead, man.
You're at 10 minutes under 2 hours.
This is incredible.
Oh, man, I'm having fun. I'm having fun, man.
I would say I know Sharpton very well, and a couple of things I would say.
Well, I remember you said you went to Liberia with him, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not stupid.
Oh, no, he's not dumb at all.
No. He's one of the very few public figures who's actually smarter than he looks.
I quoted you in my book when you said that Al Sharpton wants to be president of Black America.
Yeah, that's all he cares about.
And I said, I thought he was supposed to be a preacher.
No, I know.
Whose job is to bring people to Jesus Christ.
I know. Not at all.
Well, why are you involved in politics if you're a preacher, why are you involved in politics?
You know what he was? It's interesting. He was, look, all of us make decisions, freely, the big decisions freely. Like there are faults. Of course, I'm not giving you a pass on it. But Sharpton grew up a performer in the church.
Yeah, he was preaching at 3-4 years old.
Yeah, exactly. At 4. Yeah. And his mom sent him around. His father had an affair with his mother's daughter from a first marriage with his stepdaughter and ran off. Yeah. And but she put Sharpton out on the road at like 4. Boy preacher, Al Sharpton. He went on the road with like Mahalia Jackson, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm preaching. And so he grew up in a really distorted way. And I think that's part of it.
Well, that's what's happened with the Black church. It's turned Christianity into entertainment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to do that. It really doesn't. The word is enough. If you want to see yourself a good singer, just give him a box guitar and listen to him, right? I love James Taylor. James Taylor can just sit down with acoustic guitar. And you just, wow, James Taylor's great. Tracy Chapman can do the same.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mahalia Jackson could just have a piano.
Yes.
And could rock auditorium.
That's for sure.
Those are, but when you got, Kiss needed to have explosions and
makeup
and stacks that high, because they couldn't sing. Yeah. So they needed to entertain. And when you have preachers that don't know the word, they go into entertainment.
Do you preach ever?
No, man, I take preaching much. Everybody said, vision preacher said, unless Jesus Christ comes and sits beside me and tells me, Vince, I want you to go preach my word, I'm not going to say I'm speaking for him. I'm more like a layman.
I agree with
that. I take it from like C.S. Lewis, right? C.S. Lewis said, no, I didn't go to seminary. I'm not a preacher. I am a Christian. I'm just explaining to you my relationship with Christ and how I see it. I hope you agree. And he changed the world. We have people now, and I don't know how it gets back right, because as you know through your history, that with the Jewish community, the Sanhedrin and the Sadducees had to be destroyed. Their line really doesn't exist like it did back then any longer, because they become so apostate. The Civil Rights Movement did that to the Black preacher. It brought liberalism into the Black church, where they've been very conservative in its teachings, and wasn't really into politics much at all. Now it's getting very liberal in its teachings. You have very few Black preachers that will preach against LGBTQ or against abortion, because the Democratic Party controls the preacher. And we have 2 generations of Black people now that have not really heard the truth. They will play Martin Luther King Jr. over and over again, who doesn't really mention the name of Jesus unless it's in a parable. You've never seen him baptize anybody. You never see him have an altar call or tell people come to faith or bring them to Christ. Everything's about the vote. Everything's about marching. Everything's about protesting. And they see the church through that vein. And that is not its calling.
No, that's corrupt.
Yes.
And corrupting.
Yes. And it's corrupted the black community. And it's corrupting the white community now because they're doing the same thing. And people are believing, and they're saying, if you want to get butts in the pews, this is what you do. You start talking about social justice. And C.S. Lewis in the Screw Tape Letters talked about social justice. He said that we want to use Christianity to a means to an end, even to the end of social justice. He said because the enemy, he called God the enemy, of course, because he was the devil.
Yes.
He said because the enemy will not be used as a convenience. And I said, wow. And when I read it, it made me more angry because we've been told that social justice is a good thing. But C.S. Lewis said, God will not be used as a convenience. And we try to use him as that. Pay my light bill, pay my car note, give me a house, get me a job. Hell, a social worker can get you that. Who can get you eternal life? He's not your do-boy. He's not your cosmic chauffeur. And they have relegated him to that. And he will not be used as a convenience. And right now we're telling people this lie that if you join my church, he's going to bless you with a Cadillac. He's going to bless you with more money. He's going to bless you with it. No, he'll make sure that you're in peace no matter where you are. My father one time, it's a beautiful situation. Well, we didn't start out that way, but it ended up great. His 80th birthday, they were going to hold him a big birthday celebration. And my sisters were setting it up, right? And they hadn't gotten everything straight. So we were at church. They said, Vince, we don't have everything set up yet. We need you to take daddy off somewhere and keep him occupied for about 2 hours. I said, what do you want me to do with daddy for 2 hours? I mean, you can't do anything. Daddy do what he want to do. You find a way to get it done. You know, my sisters, they rule the rules. I said, all right, that's dang. So I grabbed it. Hey, daddy, come on, let's go somewhere because they want to be a surprise, right? He wanted to be a surprise birthday party. Okay, boy, let's go. So I got him, I put him in my car and I said, hey, daddy, show me where I was born. The place where I was born. I was in Tennessee. He said, I'll take you right to it. So he and I got in the car and we drove. He said, turn here. He knew exactly where it was. And he said, turn up in here. And I turned up in there and it was a field. And he got out. And my mother passed away 12 years ago. And he started pointing at places. And he said, the house was there. He said, we would sit on the porch there and we watch y'all play, me and your mother. He stopped and said, happiest days of my life. And I said, wow. They were poor. They were young. They didn't have running water. He says, happiest days of my life. He gives you peace no matter where you are in your life.
Ah, you're making me emotional.
That's it. Rich, poor, whatever. Peace. That's what we're after, Tucker. Everything's going to be okay. We turn to God. Why? Because we believe he's going to make everything okay. Government says, turn to us. That's a lie. Leave them alone. Turn to God. And you find people, you and I have seen them, while they're rising in life, when they become millionaires, what do they say? Well, the happiest time of my life was when me and my wife were living in a one-bedroom apartment and y'all were children. And then when they get rich, they're taking pills and they hate one another. And, and they'll turn back and they'll tell you, God, man, those happiest times of my life when I was young, when we were starting out. And our Bible tells us if you keep your mind on him, he'll keep you in perfect peace. When he left to go to heaven, he said, my peace I leave with you. Why do we have a fentanyl crisis in America? No peace. These children don't even know where to turn for it. Because they're telling them you're not a man, you're not a woman, you have pride, you don't turn to God, God's not real. And I was wired up in my religion. You know, we believed in Santa Claus when we was 5 and 6 years old, right? So you're supposed to wire children up to believe in God at that time. When you get in trouble, son, where do you go? But no anxiety, yeah, you're just going to be fine. I've seen the end of the book. You're going to win. You're going to win. And he walks through life, yes. You know, it's Muhammad Ali walking into a ring looking at the undefeated number one contender telling him, I'm going to kick your ass. That's what he do with his hands up. That's how you wake up in life every day looking at Satan. I'm going to kick your ass. There ain't no way you beat me today. No way. I win. And when you do that, he starts backing up off of you. But when you have to go to government and when you have to go to man, and man is wishy-washy, He's going to go for his own best interest. And they're telling these children this lie. And so we have wealthy people in our family. Offered to buy daddy a house. Daddy said, for what? My house is fine. I bought it in 1972. I paid it off. And he sits there with his new wife and he's happy as he can be. And when we come there, it's a communion. We would all give our big houses for the small house that dad lives in right now because of all the happiness that was there. Peace. Just a serenity. I told my brothers and sisters, I might move back to dad's house when I become an old man and just sit there and chill like you're here in Maine, right? Yeah. The peace. That's what it brings you. That's what we're all after.
Over the last 2 hours, you said a bunch of different times that we've bought the lie that voting brings us peace.
Yes. Oh, they think it's a panacea. It's 7 or 8 things down. I mean, would you prefer to have what's more powerful? To have 2 rich guys in a town of 100,000 that can control elections, or have 100,000 people that are broke who are controlled by the 2 rich guys? It's money and power, Tucker. We know that. The lobbyists in D.C., the people that have the money, they control what we see on TV. The masses are controlled by these people. And if voting was a panacea, and this is something that's pretty interesting, you're going to love this stat. The 1965 Voting Rights Act that they love, that Martin Luther King Jr. is all held for, right? They love him, was, of course, passed in 1965, right? The greatest percentage of black people who ever voted in a presidential election was in 2008 for Barack Obama, 2007 election. Before then, do you know the second number? 1964, before the Voting Rights Act. That's a fact. Before Barack Obama's election in 2007, in 1964, you had the highest percentage of black people ever voted in the history of this nation, almost 70%. And that was before the 1965 Voting Rights Act. It was a tail end of something. It caused nothing for the black community. But they gave all of this to the civil rights movement because they needed King to be on top. They needed him to have a victory. And now, even now, they still lie about the impact that the Voting Rights Act has had on the United States of America. More black people voted in 1964 than had ever voted before the Voting Rights Act was even passed. Now, isn't that interesting?
Well, it's consistent, and it's not just black voters they say that to. They
say it to America because the civil rights movement
offer up something that doesn't actually help you, that it's a purely symbolic victory. Yes. Here's your win. Here's your prize.
It's politics.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yes, politics did this for you. We did it. People come up to me, you weren't talking about the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr. You wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. I said, man, you done lost your mind. Jesus Christ has ordained something for me. Do you think anybody can stop it? Are you crazy? You're an idolater. You think that Jesus Christ has ordained something for me and some white racist can stop me? You've lost your mind. That's why you don't have anything. You've sat here in my face and told me that I can be stopped by a racist and that I need government to give me what I have. I'm just about to pistol whip your ass right about now. How you think you talking to? You're projecting, man. Maybe you're a beggar. Not me, never me. You wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. Hell, that was millionaires. Al Ross in my hometown was a millionaire, black millionaire before the civil rights movement. Jackie Robinson had gotten into baseball. He integrated before the civil rights movement.
Well, you grew up in a pretty poor place, but you had a black millionaire.
Oh yeah, Al Ross was great. His grandson Bill Ross is the mayor of Brownsville right now. Al Ross gave my father a job. My father never worked for white America. He worked for himself, or he worked for a black man.
His whole life.
Yeah, we had many prominent black people where I live. I saw many prominent black people, school teachers, business owners, people who own clubs. It was just, you had poor whites, poor blacks, rich whites, rich blacks. It was just what it was. It wasn't a situation where all black people were downtrodden and white folks beating them and hanging them from trees. I never seen anything like that. I had
and this is in the Delta.
Yeah, this is in the Delta. We had
This is the poorest part of the United States.
Yes. I had a football coach named Rufus Lassiter, great coach, football coach at Haywood County, Tennessee at the time.
Rufus Lassiter?
Rufus Lassiter.
Well, that's
great
the greatest
football
name ever.
Oh, man, he was great. Hardcore, one of those, was just a great man. White man. My whole coaching staff was white. Never any semblance of racism, meanness toward the player.
What was the team mostly black?
Mostly black. Yeah, mostly black. And those coaches were awesome. Never at the school was there any semblance of racism from the teachers. None of that.
Was there racial tension at your school?
No. We went to school with white children and they're friends of mine even to this day. None. Never had a white-black fight, riot.
Really?
Never.
What were the percentages, would you say?
I would say it's about 55-45.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you
maybe 60-40 black.
And you never had racial tension?
Never. Not one time.
So if you're 25 right now in 2024, you can't even imagine the world you're describing.
No.
No one under 50 has even come into contact with a world like the one you're describing.
History's going to tell them we were fighting, we were hating one another, there was racial strife, the white people were treating us like we was dogs, we couldn't do anything, the government had to come in and save us, all of that. And all of that is a lie. All of it is a lie. We saw people live and die based on their merit. Some people did very, very well. Some people did not. And race really didn't have anything to do with it at all.
And this, you're talking about your life that you lived. You saw this with your own eyes.
Yes. And right now, it's the same thing now. You know about my family intimately, and you see how successful we've been. And as I tell people all the time.
I'm not going to let the secret out, but yes, I do.
Yes.
I am familiar with your family.
Exactly.
That is true. You're not exaggerating.
No. And as I tell people all the time, you don't get much blacker than me, okay? It ain't like you can walk past and mistake this house for a white man, right? And so it's obvious that I'm black. So they don't care? I'm black, and what? What are you gonna judge? I ain't gonna walk around some racist and say, please, boss, don't judge me about the color of my skin. No, if you don't like me, that's your problem. You put your hands on me, you'll have another problem. I'm gonna love you. I've been ordered by Christ to do so. I'm going to love you. I'm going to treat you right. I'm not going to cheat you. I'm not going to lie on you. I'm not going to do anything. But it ends with blatant disrespect or with you trying to harm me. And most men understand that.
Yes. And
because of that, it never happens. Never. I travel all over this country. I meet nothing but nice people.
Me too.
I can't remember the last time I met a bad person. I'm literally sitting here trying to think, and I cannot think of it. The last time I met a person that was just mean to me. I can't come up with it. I really cannot.
That's not the America that Joe Biden describes.
Yeah, and it's something, I don't know where that, well, he's around Democrats, so they probably that way. But the rank and file American that I run into every day, and again, like you, I travel a lot. And I run into people, and I know people really know you. They see you, Tucker Carlson, right? And they come up to you, and I bet they're nice. Hey, Tucker, hey, man.
They are nice, actually. Yeah.
And so they want us to hate one another. They want us to look at one another and like Iago and Othello whispering in your ear, whispering in your ear. He's your enemy. You watch him. He's your enemy. You watch him. You watch him. Dude ain't done nothing to you. But, they whisper in your ear. He's out to get you, man. You need to watch him now. And when that's planted, paranoia sets in. And you have black people that are isolated in ghettos, right? Isolated.
Yes.
That never come out. And they've been fed this lie by the black preacher, the black politician, the black civil rights organizer. And they won't if you want to talk about segregation, you try to integrate one of those majority black districts and try to bring a patch of white people in there and see how they're going to fight you. I mean, if you want to bring black people, you want to make them mad, bring in a Trader Joe's, right? Or Whole Foods. You're going to bring white people in here. Get them things out of here. Oh, man, they'll try to burn it down. They don't want white people in those areas because you're bringing alien ideas to the locals. No, they want to keep white America out of those black areas. They call it gentrification. It's just a fancy word saying keep white folks out.
And why do they want that? Because
they want control. Ralph Abernathy wrote in his book, "And the Walls Came Tumbling Down," in the 1980 election, He went to them and said, look, guys, welfare is destroying the black family. It's destroying it. We've got three generations of black people on welfare. We need to start doing something to get them off. And he wrote this in his book. I never will forget it. He said, he said something curious happened. It pleased them to see 3 generations of black families on welfare because it gave them control. And that's when he endorsed Ronald Reagan for president.
Ralph Abernathy endorsed Reagan?
In 1980. Mm-hmm.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, and that's why he did it. Because he said that the black caucus was trapping black people into this welfare trap. And you remember when they did the welfare bill with Bill Clinton, how the black caucus fought against it, and they never voted for it, ever. They want to keep these people exactly where they are. That's where their power comes from. It has always been one of these attributes of black leadership that's very different than any other leadership in America. Jewish leadership, Asian leadership, and the people in the Indian community, they look out for the benefit of their people, their trustees. Black leadership has always been a sellout leadership that came from the plantation system and the house Negro system. So when black people in the South finally got the right to do anything, they would go with their old slave masters, and the slave masters had their outside children, their mulatto children, and they would put them in the power of the black community, and they would give them the money to set up shop, to have money to run for office. And it was always this interconnection between them and the class of black people and the lower class black people that were under their control. And it's that way still today. The preacher, the civic organizers, and the politicians, they're all part of this little iron triangle where the rich white liberals in the Democratic Party give them money and they control the black community. And the Democratic Party is an apostate evil organization. It is the evilest organization in the history of the world. Nothing ever comes close. The Nazis were here for about maybe 20 years. The Democrats have been here for 220. And they were the party of slavery from 1800 to 1860, the party of the Confederacy from 1860 to 1865, the party of Jim Crow from 1865 to 1965, wholesale murder, rape, torture, castration. They did it, all for power. The civil rights movement was necessitated behind the atrocities of the Democrat Party down south. And none of them voted for any other civil rights legislation, maybe about 1 or 2 of them. And do you think that after it passed, that they changed on a dime? Every senator that voted, every Democrat senator down south that voted against the civil rights legislations of the 60s remained in office. They never got beat. Whether it was Lester Maddox, whether it was Eastman, whether it was Stennis, all of them kept their power. And a lot of them started keeping their power with the black vote. Because through Stockholm Syndrome, black people were voting for the Democratic Party because they had taken on the characteristics of their masters. And they wanted to please him.
Wait, so guys who signed the Southern Manifesto,
yes,
for example, opposed to civil rights legislation, they got reelected with majority black support?
None of them lost their seats. Black people got the right to vote started voting en masse down south. Fritz Hollins left office. Oh, man, God. Fritz left probably in the 2000s.
Well, I knew him, so it wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
And Fritz voted against it.
Yeah.
Fritz voted against it. Stennis, Eastman, all of those old Dixiecrats down there voted against it. And none of them lost their offices, man. When black people got the right to vote, they voted for him. Matter of fact, George Wallace, the worst of all of them, started winning with the black vote before he died. Black people voted for George Wallace. Hell, Jesse Jackson came and campaigned for him.
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah, that's how corrupted this is. This is how intertwined it is. They've always been part of the same group, and it's designed for one thing. And this is why I always tell conservatives, the axis that this thing revolves on is the black community. This is why now, Tucker, from what you've been doing, about 30% of the black vote has left the Democratic Party over the last year. It started with our George Floyd interview, and then black people started paying attention, and now it's leaving. And Joe Biden's in a panic. The Democrats are in a panic. This is catastrophic for them. No Republican has gotten over 20% of the black vote. Nobody's gotten over 15%. If Trump gets 20% of the black vote, the Democratic Party is done forever.
Do you think he has a chance?
Oh, I think he's got a chance to get more. My next podcast coming out this Tuesday is going to be Donald Trump, the true first black president. Because the Democrats have finally done to Donald Trump what they've been doing to black men for 200 years. What they did to Donald Trump in New York is the Rodney King tape of the Democratic Party coming after white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Most coups start at the top. They don't start at the bottom. We very seldom see a Mao Zedong coup where they fight for 20 years. And,
right.
Usually they go and shoot in the head. They shoot and then take over like they're doing in Africa right now, right? Yeah. They go to the top and just kill him and they're in charge. That's what they try to do to Trump. Trump is not just the leader of the Republican Party. Trump is the leader of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who these people despise and hate. They have an enemy that they're trying to kill. And it is the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It's not that they dislike him. The evangelicals, they despise them. If you put that group and you talk about what they agree with and about what the Democrats and the liberals agree with, polar opposites. Direct polar opposites. And they know that Trump is the leader of that crew, that crowd. That crowd is his basis. That crowd is where he gets all of his power. And they know that if they take out Trump, who's going to take his place? Who can walk up right now if Donald Trump is destroyed in the Republican Party and have that crowd come behind him like they've come behind Trump? I don't think the person exists. And they know that. And so this was how the Democratic Party does a coup. They don't use bullets. They use the justice system. I mean, look at who they locked. They locked up Manafort. They locked up, they're trying to get Bannon now. They locked up his the trade guy with China. I forget his name.
Peter Navarro.
Yeah, Peter Navarro. They got Navarro locked up now. Now they got Trump. I mean, the people don't see what this is. When's the last time you saw somebody go to jail for contempt of Congress? How come Eric Holder's not in jail?
Or Hunter Biden.
Yeah. Bannon's going to jail.
I know.
Navarro's in jail. Trump's the first person in the history of the country they ever tried for what he tried him for. Oh yeah, they coming. And what they're doing is shooting across the bow to see how we respond to it. Because if we don't respond to it, they're going to keep doing it. And right now, the people are responding in a way that they didn't expect. They see it. What's the old poem? They came for the labor unionists.
I said nothing. Yeah,
I said nothing, and they came for the soldiers. I said something, and they came for the Jews, and I said nothing, and they came for me. There's no one to speak for me, and that's why you and I speaking out and telling people whether you like Trump or not is irrelevant at this time. They're coming, and they're not going to stop because evil people and crazy people don't know how to stop. They don't stop until everybody's dead. If history tells us nothing, it tells us that. Adolf Hitler went until Germany was destroyed. Mussolini did the same. The crazy jokers in Japan did the same. They kept going until the nation was destroyed. These people have taken abortion from Roe v. Wade all the way to 9-month abortion. Now they're in perinatal abortion. You hear about that in California?
No.
They're voting for an abortion bill that will kill a child 28 days after it's born. Yes, it's in the House in California. Perinatal, after birth. Why? Because our argument was solid with them. Well, when does life begin? We started kicking their butts. It begins at conception. Okay. Well, we can kill them at 3 months. Well, what about 1? Well, what about 5 months? Well, okay. Then, well, okay, you're right. We'll take it to the 9th month then. Well, if you can take it to the 9th month, why not after? You've given us permission to do that. You've given us permission to commit murder. Let's do it. It's logical, isn't it? Why not? Our logic is winning out, Tucker, and they're telling us, yes, you're right. We can kill them anytime we want to. The same thing with our logic when it came down to homosexuality and all this kind of stuff. They talk about, oh, no, people are born gay, but then they did the Human Genome Project, right? Didn't find no gay gene. They did the twin study. And when one twin was gay, the other twin was gay only about maybe 20, 25% of the time. So it couldn't be in the DNA. You see what I'm talking about? So they start saying, no, what? No, it is a choice. You're right. But we've gotten the law passed now. They don't try to argue that any longer. It's irrelevant. The law's passed. And right now, since states can now do whatever they want to do when it comes down to abortion, hell, I guess it's just a matter of legalism, isn't it? Like Dred Scott. Dred Scott is not a man that a white man has no rights and a white man need to adhere to. So you've told us with abortion, and this has always been amazing to me. I remember when Scott Peterson killed his wife, you remember Lacey?
Yes.
You remember he's charged with 2 murders, isn't he?
Yes.
How is that when the baby wasn't born yet? How is that?
Because everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
It's a person, of course.
Everybody knows. But we have said that the mother has a right to kill that child whenever she chooses. So if it's a person here, it's a person, it's a person here. They know it. But we've allowed that legalism. We've allowed it to stay. And now we're going to have to deal with it.
So, I mean, it's human sacrifice. I think it's pretty obvious.
Of course it is.
This is a religious right.
Yes.
But at some point, our people are punished.
Yes.
For killing, for example, for sin. Our nation's punished.
I think they're by God. And I don't think it's God punishing them. I think that what happens is he takes his hands off and you become a virtueless people and you start killing yourselves. It was interesting, the commandment that says, honor thy father and thy mother so your days will be long on this earth. And people always think that means that God will punish you for not obeying your father and your mother. No, it is a harbinger. It tells you the type of person that you are. And my dad would say, if you do not honor and obey me, you won't honor and obey the police. You'll go outside this house and you'll disrespect the wrong person. And that wrong person is going to bust a cap in your head. So when you are disrespectful to your parents, it tells the type of spirit you have in you, an arrogant, prideful, disrespectful spirit.
That's right.
And that's going to get you in trouble outside of the house. And the people outside of the house don't love you like your mom and daddy do. And somebody's going to either lock you up or put you in jail or kill you. That means you have no respect for yourself. So you're going to be doing dope and drugs. You're going to be out there fighting and acting a fool. So it's a harbinger. So when people kill their own children, you tell them that you can kill them inside the womb. Well, why do you? Well, that means you can kill them outside of it too. So why do you think the murder rate's so high in the black community? There's no virtue in life. You told them you can kill them inside the womb, so why can't I kill them outside the womb? So now we're killing one another. And now the nation is dying. And when you don't have any respect for life, you have no respect for anything else, because that's the most important thing. Our Bible tells us, I lay before you blessings and curses, life and death. Choose life so that you and your children shall live. Choose life. We're choosing death. Democratic Party is a death cult. They know what they're doing. You take away the rights of people to keep and bear arms in a war zone, knowing that the police in Detroit is 2 hours away, and the criminals know that. You have people riding down the dangerous highways and tell them they can't be armed, and every crook on that highway knows that. So if they see your car broke down, they know you don't have a gun, and they can rob you. Carjackings in D.C. Why? Because they can't carry a gun in their car. Think criminals are stupid? Why do you think they carjack people in D.C. like that? You can't carry a gun in your car in D.C.
Because they're defenseless.
Yes. And who makes that happen? They know this. What did Machiavelli said? He said that there is no relationship between an armed and a disarmed man. Armed man has all the power. All of it. And when you disarm a person, he's no longer free. They know this. This is why when the British came here, and I was in Boston, I was at Lexington Green where they confronted them, and they said, colonists, give up your arms. They said, come take them. They came to disarm them because they knew that, that they could not subdue an armed population. They know once they get our guns, we have to capitulate to what they say. And wherever you find a large group of black people, what do? Take the guns away. Now, where did this start? Right at the end of the Civil War, where they wanted to make sure that the freedmen could be subdued and controlled. So they put out black codes that said black men could not have guns. And so guess who you go out there to start preaching this foolishness? Black preacher, black politician, black civil rights leader. Remember those 2 young black men in Nashville who got kicked out of the house because they were protesting, and they went, one in Memphis, one in Nashville, and they got reelected. But what were they protesting? Gun legislation. To allow people to be able to more freely have their guns. They were protesting that. They didn't want guns in the black community with all the crime. So you got people out there screaming, the police are racist. The police are racist. The police are racist. And they're hunting black men. What is your remedy? Well, let's turn our guns over to them. I said, why don't you just be expeditious and blow your own damn brains out? Just shoot yourself. I'm going to give the police running after me, chasing me to kill me. And I'm like, oh, wait, officer, take my gun.
So the cops are racist and they should be the only people allowed to have firearms, right?
Whereas logically, if the cops are racist and they got firearms, you should have 10 guns on you. Because I know that there's a racist cop out there trying to kill me. It's illogical. It's stupid. It's insane. Government is like children. They'll take as much power as you let them have. And you have to tell government no further because we know you're going to start intruding on our rights and we're not going to allow that. How do we get you off of us? We will kill you. Do you understand that? Okay, no further. All right then. What did Jefferson said? He said the tree of liberty must be fertilized, what? With the blood of tyrants and patriots. It's their natural manure. You got to be willing to, and this is where, we've had this big problem in the black community. We've never been willing to kill for our freedom. We've been willing to die. Let me make something absolutely positively clear. I have no interest in dying for my freedom. I have every interest in killing any joker that come to try to take it. No interest in dying. None. I love New Hampshire. I was up there a couple of weeks ago and I said, I love you guys' motto, live free or die. I'd like to change one word in that. It's live free or kill. No interest in dying for my freedom. And we always had our interest in dying for the freedom. I said, you can count me out on that one, player. This Ellison ain't dying for nobody's freedom. And we talk about that. Well, I was on the front lawn and I'll die. Hell, not me. What a gun at, man. We'll go out there and fight somebody. You talking, I ain't gonna get I remember Sonny Liston said something so funny. Sonny Liston, they wanted Sonny to get in. He was champion of the world before he fought Ali, right?
Here in Maine. In
Yeah. So they wanted Sonny to get involved in the civil rights movement, And Sonny saw him down there getting jumped on by police and getting beat and dogs and stuff jumped on him. So he said, I ain't gonna get involved and all they're gonna do is take punches. Sonny said, I have no interest in going down there catching punches, okay? Now, if you want to go down there and fight, I'm your man. But you think I'm going to let somebody beat the hell out of me?
So he was more on the Malcolm X side.
Yeah, man. Well, Sonny was knocking out white men.
Yeah.
He didn't see himself as inferior to nobody. Sonny was rich. Sonny had money. Sonny said, I'd advise you to do what I did. Stand up for your freedom. Man, I can't go down there and make you a free man. Look, Tucker, okay, Civil War starts, right? White men from up north and black men come down and fight to free the slaves, okay? War is over with. So Freedmen's Bureau's down there, Ku Klux Klan's down there. We send federal troops down south. The Union Army does. Stay there for years. 12 years. Reconstruction, okay? Trying to protect black men. Now think about this. 12 years. Then in the election of 1876, Rutherford B. Hayes against Tilden, the whole South goes Democrat. Now, Rutherford B. Hayes is the governor of Ohio. Dude got shot 5 times as a general in the Civil War trying to free black folks. And when these jokers get a chance to vote for him, they vote for a Democrat. So they sat there and they found out that there was all kind of shenanigans behind the vote and everything. South Carolina had 101% of its registered voters vote.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, And so, of course, they say, no, this was cheated. We're going to pull back the electoral vote, college vote to South Carolina and give them Hayes. Anyway, South Carolina said, we're going to start the Civil War again if you do that. So they sat down and said, you know what? We fought the Civil War for 5 years. Probably in today's money, trillions of dollars. 600,000 of our troops have been maimed or killed, freeing these slaves, these black folks down here. And they have reelected the Democratic Party who had them enslaved. If you want to be with your master, be with him. Peace out. And they pulled the troops out. And then they say, what? We know the old refrain. White intimidation came in and subdued the black population and beat them down for years, the racists, and wouldn't let them vote. There were 3 times more black men than white men in South Carolina. There were 2 times more in Mississippi. It was half and half in Louisiana, in Alabama, in Georgia and in Virginia. At the beginning of the Civil War, there were 4.5 million whites. There were 4 million blacks. They had about 400,000 white men that died in the Civil War. So by the time the war was over with, the best and the strongest of the South's men were dead. Or, arm cut off, leg cut off. And the black slave population stayed the same. And black men wouldn't fight. Most wouldn't fight. They wouldn't defend their families. They wouldn't defend their property. They were subjugated. And this is why I always tell people, they can get mad at me. I don't care. Slavery, just like freedom, is a choice. Frederick Douglass was a slave. He was sent to a slave breaker because he was ornery. He wouldn't do what he was told to do. He was 16 years old. This slave breaker's name was Covey. Frederick writes about him. Just whooping Frederick and beating him. And Covey hit Frederick one too many times. And Frederick beat the hell out of Covey.
Good for him.
And Covey respected him. And Frederick Douglass said he found out, he says, power gives up nothing without demand. He said, a weak man can never have power. He said, he will be pitied for a time, but until the power rises up in him, he will never be respected. And that's when Frederick Douglass became Frederick Douglass. He left, got his freedom, and became who he was. Harriet Tubman remembered the same thing. 100,000 black people escaped during slavery. Another 100,000 escaped during the Underground Railroad. If it was impossible and wasn't a choice, how did they do it? How did they choose? Harriet Tubman would go and get black people and say, come on, let's go to freedom. They say, no, you chose. Then they want to talk about some reparations. Ain't that some nerve? The very Union Army, who had 600,000 soldiers almost die to free you, you're going to now sue for having you enslaved. If you want your reparations, go to Antietam. Go to Sharpsburg. Go to Vicksburg. Go to Gettysburg. Go, these white boys died and these black soldiers died. The Massachusetts 54th. The Homestead Act comes out in 1866, giving any able-bodied man, black men too, the right to take 150 acres of land out west if you're willing to till it. Less than 5,000 black men joined up for it and stayed on the plantation. And you're going to tell me slavery is not a choice? George Washington says, American Revolution, if you fight, you're free. The British said the same thing. Some came and fought, others chose to stay on the plantation. Choice. War of 1812, same thing. Some fought, some stayed. Choice. Mexican War, same thing. Some fought, some stayed. Choice. Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation, come fight. Less than 1% joined the Union Army down south. Choice. And then you got the nerve to ask for some reparations when you turned them down after they offered free land? Because a bunch of Democrats are going to be lying to you? Let me tell you something straight. Everybody listen to me. You ain't going to get that money. You can kiss it goodbye. Some study talking about it's going to be $27 trillion for America to pay reparations. Well, Tucker, there's a problem with that. I think that the GDP of America is only like maybe $23 trillion. And with all of everything America made last year, you're not going to get it. And here's the greatest reason that you're not going to get it. Barack Obama became president in 2000. He won in 2007, became president in 2008. You remember this well because he had a filibuster-approved majority in the House and the Senate. Remember, he had 58 Democrats and 2 independents caucusing with him. That was filibuster-proof. Cloture was done. And that's how they got Obamacare passed, right? Nancy Pelosi got it through the House, and then they had the 60 votes in the Senate. And you know how hard it is to get 60 votes for one party in the Senate. I can remember the last time that ever happened. Brock had it. How many times did reparations come up?
Approximately 0.
Approximately 0.
In that range.
Yes. Never came up. Never came. Could have passed it easy, couldn't he? Never came up. You will never get it. It's Lucy moving the football, Charlie Brown. It's the carrot in front of the old mule making him walk. You will never, ever get it. And when I hear these people lying to these people that are not very well educated, telling them about this, what did the old crow in Animal Farm flew around telling people about
Yeah.
all the things they were going to get, what he called honey and all this kind of stuff, and the people were working believing it. It's just a communist. It's part of what they do. It's how they work. They give you these false idols to pray to. They have the statues of Lenin and Stalin all over the Soviet Union, like they do King here in America, right? In the black community, streets and stuff named after him, to make people believe that his ideology was so correct. And the guy wasn't apostate. Everything he talked about failed.
So I guess my last question is, you've laid out the case, I think, compellingly, that the Democratic Party has oppressed, well, the country, but black people in particular, for a couple hundred years. So what is the thinking of people who, so you're saying you think the Republican this year could get over 20%, but that's still, it's still a lot of people voting Democrat.
It is.
Why?
Social pressure.
How intense is the social pressure?
Oh, you can be ostracized.
Actually?
Yeah, you have to be able to explain yourself very, very well. Black people that can explain themselves well, like I do, I have no problem. But while you're against the Democratic Party, you've seen myself. They castrate little boys and call them little girls. These people vote for candidates that say they're gonna make it legal for demented men to go into the bathroom and watch your wife and your daughter urinate. I look at a black man and say, "Did you hear what I just said to you? You're gonna vote for a man that's gonna let a demented man go into the bathroom with your wife and your daughter and watch them use the bathroom. Hell, I don't do that.
I don't either.
And you're going to let some weirdo off the street walk in the bathroom with your wife and your daughter, and you're going to sit back and laugh about it? Hell, man, this ain't funny. What type of man are you? He said, who does it? The Democratic Party. Oh, you ain't been paying attention, huh? And then you educate him. He sits back and said, and he's convicted. You ever heard a drag queen story out? No. You haven't heard a drag queen story? No, what is it? Show it to him. What's going on? They're bringing men in dresses into school and shaking their behinds in your son's face, telling him that it's all right for him to be that way. What? The Democrat Party is behind this. Oh, man, no, they ain't. Show it to him. Oh, man, I didn't know. Who's going to tell them this, Tucker? How do they hear without a preacher, right? Is the black preacher telling them? No. Is the black caucus telling them? No. Is the NAACP telling them? No. They're all in on it. So what are they going to do? They're going to come back to the black community and say, we're going to get you free stuff. And we hate white people. Vote for us. White man is your enemy. The reason why you have nothing is because of him. It's not us. It's him. It's him. It's scapegoating. All they don't know. You've seen Sharpton and Joy Reid on MSNBC.
Oh, yeah.
See? It's all white America. It's white supremacy. It's always that. Systemic racism, all of that. Systemic racism, hell, they control all the systems. They control the schools. They control the police. They control the dope game. They own every whorehouse, every prostitute house, every failing school. They control the judges. They control the juries. They control it all, the police forces. But they have this ability to deflect because there's nobody to give the other side of the narrative. That's what makes me so dangerous. I give the other side. I don't fear them. My Bible tells me 365 times in it to fear not for every day of the year. How can I fear a man that wants to walk around with high heels on and a dress? Scared of him. What? You walk around being afraid of a man that wants to walk into a woman's bathroom and watch children urinate. Sick bastard. That's crazy. Well, I believe I'm a woman. I don't care. You go in the bathroom with my daughter, I'm going to beat the living hell out of you right here, right now. Not today, bro. You better wait. Wait. And then you look at a man and say, you're going to vote for a party that allows such a thing. We need to make it as simple as that. And used to be a time when you and I remember this, when if you caught a man posted up watching women use the bathroom, hell, they put him in the crazy house.
Of course. Well, he'd be beaten by the dads.
Yeah, and then the police will come and whoop him some more.
Yeah.
And the judge will put him in the crazy house. Now, they'll whoop the dad.
Oh, yeah.
Put the dad in jail. You better not say a word. Let this man watch your wife and your child urinate. And you have men to sit around and let that happen.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. We're going to allow these people to come in, men in dresses, and confuse your children like this. The call is to them first. Are you a man? Are you not? Now, you know, the ones that say they're not men, that's cool, going about your way. But there are a lot of them that still consider themselves men. And those are the ones that you reach. Because the black men are they're really making the turn.
I've noticed.
Yes.
Not black women, though.
No, but the Democratic Party is their husband.
Is that what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Because I see the numbers, and it's people say the black vote is changing. No, black men are changing.
Yeah, black men are changing big because.
Do you see the same?
Yes. I agree. But there's no one in America more machismo than black men. At least they try to act like it, right?
Yeah.
And you have to remind them of that. And the black women are protected by government. You know, they can put restraining orders on men for anything. They can take their children away and make them pay child support. To take their sons away. That's the game that they play. They use government to come in and try to castrate their husbands and try to castrate their boyfriends. And the man can say, I'll take my son. I'll raise him. I'll take care of him. No, I'll keep him and I want you to pay me. And the judges 9 times out of 10 will say, yeah, she's right. Pay her and let her raise your son. And you can see him 4 times out of the month. And then these boys are raised confused. But again, they know this. What did Pharaoh say when he found out that the children of Israel were getting too numerous in Goshen? He went to the midwives and said that if you see a girl child, let them live. But if you see a boy child, kill him. Kill him. Kill the boy child. There was a book out that said Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. There was a great book out that said Conspiracy to Destroy Boys in America. It was done about 20, 30 years ago. They warning people that this society is being set up from the feminists and whatnot to take men out, to feminize men. The LGBTQ movement, same thing. Feminization of men. Confusing them. The Boy Scouts, look at what they've done, Tucker. They don't even call them Boy Scouts any longer. They didn't mess with the Girl Scouts, did they? We got to take the Boy Scouts out. The man is the problem. Our Bible says, Jesus gave the parable that if a robber is going to come into a home, he first must bind the strong man. He has to bind the strong man before. But if he doesn't bind the strong man will wait and will not allow his house to be shaken up. They have to bind the strong man, especially the American strong man. The American strong man, it was something nobody had ever seen before. He was something that the world had never witnessed before. I mean, when the Americans came, it was over. It was Wild Earth walking in. It stops now. When those boys invaded France on Normandy, war was over in 6 months. A year was done. The Boy Scouts against the Hitler Youth beat them down. When the Americans came, it stopped. We used to take democracy and morality and meritocracy and capitalism. The whole world wanted to be us. Now look at what we're pushing all over the world. Kill your children. Let your men wear dresses. Push God out of the public square. Climate change. Control the whole economy. They went down to Africa and the Congo. These people about to starve to death. They found all this oil down there. And then the UN gonna say, well, we don't want you to go dig it up because you're gonna release a carbon bomb in the. What? We about to die over here, man. You guys digging up everything you want to dig up. And then you're gonna tell us that we can't dig up our natural resources because it might release a carbon bomb? And these people living in huts, Tucker, no running water, and they actually went down there and told these people, we don't want you. This is how crazy they are. And it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, right? Somebody got to call you out and say, little boy said, he's naked. And everybody else said, oh, he is. We have to start calling these people crazy. We entertain them too much by acting like that they have some type of moral equivalency with us. You have no moral equivalency with me. You know, this is a great line for the movie. I love Gladiator, but he was down there talking to the boys getting ready to fight. And he said, your father, he said, they allow you to watch the games. He was concerned. And the boy said, They said, make me strong. He said, what does your father say? He said, my father's dead. But that's the question, isn't it? What does your father say?
Yeah.
He didn't tell him what to do. He asked him, what does your father say? I always do that when someone young asks me about politics. I say, what does your father say? And when they tell me that's what you do. And when you get, and if I disagree, I say, when you get to be 18 years old, look me up, we'll talk. Right now, you do what your father says. All right? I don't want to go against his father.
That's right.
If I talk to his father, but I won't talk to the father's son without the father's permission. I'm not going to try to corrupt his son against his belief system. Ever. What does your father say? Oh, these people don't care. They'll tell you in public education that these are their children. They actually say that. These are our children. We are going to teach them to think for themselves, not think like you. The audacity. And we tolerate it. My 8-year-old is going to think for himself? You're going to turn him away from my way of thinking, if necessary? Well, okay, then that's fine. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
But we've allowed this.
It's an act of war against your family.
It is. And they've done it. We've tolerated it for too long. It all came from the civil rights movement. This thing has to be pulled up root and stern, but first we have to expose it to people. It's almost like what, it's a bad example, but people will get it. It's almost like what they had to do with Nazism. They had to expose it to people and say, now you know how terrible this stuff is, right? Yeah. You didn't know it was about killing Jews, did you? No, we didn't know. Okay, well, you say you didn't, but you see what's going on and it destroyed you. It's the same thing that we're finding out with communism, right? People found out that it was just a horrible system. The gulags and the murders. And when they came out and said Stalin was murdering and killing people, they said, well, yeah, you made him a tyrant. And he had no checks and balances. And that's what they do when they have no checks and balances. They kill people. And so you look at this system also. A system devoid of morality and God? How can you have moral law without a moral law giver? And as I've told a bunch of liberals, and I hope they listen to me, all you liberals out there that say you hate Christianity and Jesus Christ, if you want some advice, you better let that slip. You better leave that alone. Because I know some brothers that if Jesus Christ wasn't holding their hands back, they kill every last one of these liberals for fun. I know some brothers that were stone cold killers that found Christ, and they still got it in them, but they've controlled it. If these people ever find or believe that Jesus Christ does not exist, these little liberals that don't want to have guns, you think they're carjacking them now? They're going to kill them all. They'll kill them all. So my advice to them is you better leave that stuff alone. You better start pushing Jesus Christ as hard as you can to these young men. Because if you're not, they're all dead men. Cursing Christianity is like cursing the roof that protects you from the storm. It protects them.
That's right.
Why are they so very, and they're against it. Love your neighbor. Don't lie, don't steal, don't kill. Don't covet what your neighbor has. Hate it. Right now in, I think it's Texas. Read a story this morning, Texas or Florida. They want to get rid of some curriculum because it's too Christian. They don't want the children to learn it. That's their reason. It's too Christian. And it all started from this apostate movement that went to government and didn't say, these are our white brothers and sisters in Christ. Some of them have been misled. We are not misled. We will teach them by our example. We will love them irregardless. We will help them whenever we can. But this is a family fight between us and them. They say they're Christian, we're Christian. We're going to teach them how we're supposed to love one another. But that is not the government's job.
No.
The government's job is trying to make us love each other in peace and brotherhood and all that kind of stuff. Their job is to make the trains run on time. And if one of us assault one another, have a trial and put them in jail. But the reasons why we do it is not, they're not just makes me concerned about that. Of course, to love one another, have brotherhood and fellowship. Yeah, that's aspirational. But it's not the government's job.
No, it's not.
It's the job of churches, mosques, synagogues, families, community centers. But the government is not supposed to be involved in that. Well, how are they going to do it? Tucker put a gun on you. You're going to love him. What are they going to do?
Well, it hasn't worked.
It doesn't work. It never works. It never works. We've seen governments dissolve. And then what happens? The fractions of society that hated each other before start fighting again. What happened in Serbia?
Yugoslavia. Yeah, exactly.
They just started fighting again. They thought they had killed 60, 70 years after. Started fighting, killing each other. We saw it in Rwanda with the Tutsis and the Hutus just started killing one another because government was the only thing that was separating them from the fight. And it's Novocaine. You think things are going well and it's not. The only thing that made America, and you know about Christianity, how it moved the abolitionist movement.
Of course.
The Republican Party didn't come from anywhere. It were abolitionists training people up north to put the whole party together. And then they got behind the Republican Party and said, we want slavery ended. And it was a Christian movement where segregation in the churches didn't even exist. Blacks and whites went to church together, fellowship together, loved one another. And if we can just come back to that basic concept again, but again, the primary goal, the thing that fears them, that makes them most afraid is to see what you and I are doing right here. A black man and a white man talking and fellowshipping and caring about one another as friends. They can't stand that.
Well, I got to say, I mean, we're from very, very, very different worlds, but I'm going to be thinking about this conversation for a long time. And, but now looking back on the last few hours, I don't think I disagree with a single word. So that tells you something right there.
It scares them to death to see that two people like you and I, they might call you a crazy radical and you, whatever they might call you. Yeah. But we can sit back and say, one thing you can't say we're racist because we're racist, we'd be fighting right now.
Oh, well, that's true. No. I mean, I can say you speak for me.
Well, thank you, brother.
Vince, thank you.
Man, it's always a pleasure. Anytime you want to sit down and have a conversation with me, I'm here.
You've blown my mind.
You're a good friend, Tucker. Thank you, brother. All right.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.